Okay, welcome everybody to the first ever episode of the Ensemble Exchange. This is the new podcast from everybody in my Discord server, Braester's Gaming Ensemble, getting together and talking and just, shooting the shit, if you will. We are going to go over something very important. You see, next week, exactly a week from tomorrow afternoon, I guess tomorrow morning for some of you, Nintendo's going to be doing their E3 presentation, and it's going to be their second Direct this year. They did one back in February, which did the reveals of Pyra and Mithra, the new Mario Golf game, and the big reveal of Splatoon 3. So we are now going to discuss what could be shown off at this big E3 one, and in just a week's time, or pretty much it's 8 sleeps away, if you will. So I'm going to get the guys in on this chat here. We're going to go over it for the next little while and just see where the conversation takes us. It's our first ever episode. This is going to be the new format going forward. We will get together, we will talk, and as a community, we are going to push the server and the content and our roundtable discussions going forward. So this is just a little first episode. There's always some fine-tuning that can be done, but we're going to give it a shot here. So now I'm going to jump right into the lounge. You can see it right here on the screen here. We've got Loafs and Orangutango already in there. I know Orangutango better. If I refer to him as Andy, it's because that's how I met him. His original username in the server was Andy. And Loafs is just Loafs. He goes by Loafs on most of his platforms, so he doesn't mind being called that. So I'm going to head into it with the guys and get them to introduce themselves. So here we go. Alright guys, so now your audio is going to be recorded. So you can get talking now. I did a little intro to introduce us. Yes, so what's up, Andy? I know they're probably as they see the Discord up right now for my capture display as it is, they'll see you as Orangutango, but your original username when I met you was in fact Andy. So
it was indeed
Andy.
But now I'm Orangutango. It's great to be here on your glorious channel.
Yeah, my wonderful channel. Yes.
Yeah, man.
And we've got what mini mod Loafs here, or how'd you want to be introduced, my guy?
Doesn't matter, just stick with Loafs.
Yeah, I know. That's how I introduced you before jumping into the VC. So it's quite a bit of stuff coming up, and I mean Nintendo's got their big presentation in about a week's time. They surprisingly already did a Direct this year after going through pretty much an entire year without one, unless you count that. I count the mini that they did in March of 2020 as almost being one. It was like over 20 minutes long. I don't know why they counted it as a mini, but they counted it as
Direct
such.
mini.
Yeah, that one where they did that mystery arms announcement. And they're like, who's going to be fighting from arms? And it was like 20 minutes long, and I was like, that's pretty much almost the length of a regular Direct, you know?
And then we got everyone's favorite noodle lady, Min Min.
Yes.
One of my
Ramen.
mains, but I don't try to play her in a toxic way like most mouth breathers do. I try to actually play
not a very
combo
popular
game.
character among the players these days. So they did a normal one back in February. It was the first regular Direct in a while. They showed off Splatoon 3 at the end of it. They showed off the Mario Golf game, which is going to be releasing soon, by the end of the month, I think, right? Soon.
I've unmuted you so I can hear your input.
Mm-hmm.
Please feel free to. Yeah.
I see Hebby has joined us.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Puberty's hitting him something fierce.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think it's like 3 people now that say something like a smoker.
Yeah. Well, the voice will get smoother. It'll just kind of flatten out and just be deeper. But it's like you're in that middle phase right now.
Yeah.
You're in the
phase
of
one where you.
I think
where you crack all the time.
Would just be best. I mean, I don't know if my voice can get deeper than this.
No, I don't. I'm trying to think. Maybe it could, but I think it's stretching.
How would you imagine my voice getting deeper?
And then it's just you get
It probably won't.
No. Then I just say try and do Barry Manilow's gig and all that stuff, and maybe something will be going for you there. But
yeah.
So regardless, they showed us Splatoon 3 at the end of the last one, and there's the Mario Golf announcement as well as the Pyra Mithra Challenger Pack.
Yes.
So I can't remember how long that one was. It was probably around the ballpark of 40 minutes, like this one is supposed to be. I heard some people go, 40 minutes? Why isn't it an hour? And I'm just like, after a year of not a whole lot of shit, I think 40 minutes is just fine.
Yeah, be grateful you got this much,
Yeah.
honestly.
Be grateful
Like, they
you getting
could,
40
you could've
minutes.
done,
They could have
like-
a 10-minute direct, which is like,
Could be another
reveal
mini.
trailer. 1, reveal trailer. 2, buy for another year.
Could have been another.
If you're getting anything.
Yeah, it could have been another mini. They could have not done fuck all for this E3.
yeah, they
digital
could have
event.
not done
like,
fuck
you know?
all. They could have just released it
So-
on Twitter and be like, hey, here's the next character. Like, be grateful that you got at least a direct, alright?
So, of course, the big talking point is, well, I mean, only for, I mean, our community cares about it because it's our most popular game, Smash Brothers. But a lot of people are looking towards the Smash reveal, and it's, I guess, like, a lot of people are split on how many they believe is going to go down at the event. I see a lot of people are playing it safe and saying it's just going to be one because of the spacing that they've done for the Challenger Pack so far. Like, I mean, it's only really been one character at a time, right? Like, there was, you know, Min last June, Steve very close.
Pretty uniform.
Yeah, Steve very close. I mean, they did it around Minecon. I think it was like right after they revealed him, like Minecon happened or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Sephiroth was the Game Awards. It was just him, and then Pyra and Mithra were on that first direct, which also I might remind you guys was like around 40 minutes too. So it's not like Nintendo has not given any. This has not done a presentation this long already. This is actually the second one they've done. As a guy where there was none of these going on last year, I'm fucking looking forward to it. You know, it's like after they.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about it, and I'm really looking forward to the next direct at E3.
What they show off
is
to be determined, but I'm sure there's going to be at least a couple things where we just kind of ooh and ah at this and that. I mean, it always kind of happens that way. So, as I said, there's only ever been one reveal at a time for the Smash Brothers characters. But E3 in the past has had two. If you go back a few years ago, during the first Fighters Pass, there was Hero at the beginning and Banjo and Kazooie revealed near the end. If we look back, if we look back at Smash for Wii U when it was going through DLC, they revealed that not only was Roy returning to the game after being cut from Brawl, from Melee, like he was in Melee, he got cut from Brawl, and then they brought him back for Smash 4, they also revealed Ryu as the first ever Smash Brothers DLC newcomer in the franchise's history. So that technically really had two, even if it was a veteran and a DLC newcomer. They was still kind of two characters being shown off during that DLC season. So there is a precedent towards, again, I don't care much about base roster. With base roster, there have been multiple reveals and throughout Smash history. I'm just focusing solely on seasons of DLC, right? So in the past, when it's had it for Wii U and for the first Fighters Pass, there have been two. So, of course, there is a good portion of the community thinking the same could happen here as well because of that precedent. What do the rest of you think? Whoever wants to jump in now can talk about that. What do you think personally, and do you think the past reveals of two might have implications come 1 week's time?
So my guess, right, is, you know, Nintendo loves making money, right? It's one of their favorite things to do. How do you make more money with these last two characters? What I would do personally, stretch it out, release one here and then hype it up for, there's still one more character, gotta keep on playing the game, keep the longevity going, and then they release another character later down the line. Because if they were to drop both characters right now, that's the end of DLC for Smash Brothers forever, because this is supposed to be the last game.
I will...
unless they pull like a mystery move and like, oh hey, here's some more DLC, even though we said this was the last one. I doubt they will, but if from an economical financial standpoint, the way you're gonna make more money is drop one character now, people are gonna buy it, and then drop another later, and people will be willing to buy that one more because they're not having to pay for two characters at a time,
Yeah, I'm of the idea that should a double reveal happen, that one would be released within a week or two after the direct, and that the other one would just be teased and you know who they are, but they're still going to take a couple months to come out. should it happen. I don't think they reveal both and just slam blam release
Like
them both
released
at
in
the
the
same
same
time.
day.
No, I don't see that. Like if it
Yeah.
does happen, it would be like this one. We're gonna have a full video, like a whole. I mean, the second one will probably get one full decent sized trailer
I mean,
too.
hell, but I mean, like, I feel like within a week of the first one is, quite an early estimation. Assuming that we get a Sakurai Presents, then I'd say give it maybe a month, or maybe within the same month. But I say a week is too optimistic.
For Challenger Pack 10? For the next one?
Yes.
Really?
I mean,
it's
like,
been like
for
3
just
months.
releasing it in the same week.
This is the longest
I mean,
drought
like,
that
releasing.
we've. Or I shouldn't even say drought. It's like the longest period between characters, and generally when they reveal them, they don't release too long afterward. They show them off,
Right.
and then their presence is announced within a week or two after. Like, I mean, there was like 15 days between Pyra and Mithra's reveal and their actual presents and release to the game. It was like, I mean, it's a day over 2 weeks, but it wasn't even like a month after they were revealed they came out. They haven't waited that long with this pass. They've handled it quite different from the first one, where there were times where a character would be shown off and it would be a good while before they came out. Like every character in the first pass pretty much had, except for Byleth. Byleth is the only exception. Byleth they revealed and did. Byleth they did this pretty much the same thing for, where they revealed it, and then within like 2 weeks after or a week and a half after the reveal itself and the presents, they released Byleth. But for like the other 4 characters before Byleth, they all were like revealed, and then it took a while for them to come out and for their presents to be shown off. But they have not gone that direction with the second pass. It seems like when they reveal them, they are very close to, or at least like a couple weeks away from launching said character. So
Right.
I imagine that would be.
Yeah, but I'm still kind of on the fence about that statement.
But like every character of the second pass has done that so far.
Yeah,
right?
But
did Sephiroth take a month to come out
it wouldn't be
after he was shown off?
Yeah, but it wouldn't be the first time that Nintendo has broken tradition.
No, it wouldn't be the first time, but at this point, I don't expect it to change very much. The only thing the only thing I say is wait. It's if they do end up revealing like 2 at the same time, and then the second one is the one you got to wait a couple months for, whereas the first one would be.
Or maybe they do.
Maybe they do like a few weeks afterward.
Maybe they'll do like a fucking Sephiroth challenge type shit. Well, how about we call it the Crash challenge?
Yeah, the Crash challenge
of you can before Crash does. Crash is lighter than Jigglypuff. Needs more socks than Crash can in 3 minutes. Go! And also make Crash faster than Sonic.
All right,
Oh, jeez.
So, Loaves, you've been pretty silent so far. I'm going to get your opinion on how many you personally think could happen. Your idea of a potential 2 should it happen. Do you think it's likely, or very much unlikely? And do you also agree that if it is just 1, that the presents would be relatively soon after the reveal during the June Direct? Hello?
Let's see you there.
I think they might be AFK.
They might be. Yeah. Oh.
Oh.
Technical difficulties?
Seems such.
Difficult technical.
Okay, personal opinion here.
Okay.
2 isn't crazy, but it's probably going to be 1.
Mm-hmm.
Probably going to be 2. I'm going to be wrong. That's how it is. But considering most people buy the Fighter's Pass over buying the individual characters, there's no downside to releasing 1 at a time. That would also allow them to push out 1 in September or October. Finish out the year with a nice lifespan. People who didn't buy Fighter's Pass 2, it'd be a good chance to get that character that, 11's going to be something the community's wanted. If not 10 and 11, both being something the community's wanted.
Fuck it.
But it's usually a week and a half for the Sakurai Presents, and then the character's released within 4 to 5 days after the present. So, if not the same day.
Yeah, there's
So,
potential
we're
for
looking
that.
at
I'm
about
just
2
giving
weeks.
myself a safeguard and saying it might take a week after, or what have you.
Yeah.
But again, I think it is safe to say one because that is how they've been spacing it out. Despite the precedent of there being two before, again, that was the previous pass and Wii U DLC. That doesn't always translate to how they do this pass. And if this pass is spoken, they only make one character an event at a time. So it would make sense to save the last one for its own. Maybe they do a September direct if they do a third one. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know if there's going to be 3 this year or if they just do like a Sakurai Mystery Presents thing like they did with Byleth and they reveal the last character that way. You still do one more big event and one more big showcase, if you will, after E3 is all said and done. Which makes me point out that if E3 only does get one, it has to be a character they decided was big enough to reveal during this particular week. Because
Right.
if it wasn't, if it didn't have universal appeal of some sort, meaning it really appeals to both sides, like both markets, because I'm assuming that's what they're going for here, like a character like Sephiroth, for example, to compare it to.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they have just done a fucking Sakurai Presents or something in May? Like, they clearly are saving it for June. And there's been no announcement since Pyra and Mithra. They're keeping this quiet and they're saving it for June during this particular direct, I'm sure. Now, granted, I'm just going to be the fucking guy. I know it's not going to happen. There will be Smash reveals. But imagine that fucking 40-minute direct goes by and there's no Smash news. What would be all yours reaction to that? Would you just laugh or like...
I'd probably be a little upset, not gonna lie.
I don't think
'Cause,
that it won't happen.
I've really been anticipating this one, and so if theoretically they were to like just cuck us out of a Smash reveal,
Yeah.
I would totally be upset. Like,
I would imagine that would not.
I'd be beyond pissed.
I'd laugh.
Yeah.
I'd be pissed, but I'd laugh. But obviously that won't happen. They whenever there's a character to be revealed and there's a Nintendo Direct, it goes like bread and butter, right? Like it happens during these directs. So that I'm just being devil's advocate to be. It's just like the fucking bummer here for the community. It's like, oh, imagine they don't do that, and it's like,
right.
it is. So we're gonna say that they do it because whenever there's directs that happen during the DLC and DLC hasn't been revealed yet, they go together, and that's how they do it. Unless of course they're making a big special thing out of the presents where it's like a mystery reveal, like they did with Byleth and the other characters beforehand, before Pyra and Mithra. But as I said, the Game Awards was fucking big enough to get Sephiroth, and I would say E3 is, I don't want to dog on the Game Awards too much, but this is a much bigger event,
Right.
in comparison to. So,
all eyes are gonna be on
Nintendo.
dude, they did that the Sephiroth trailer right away at the beginning, and then as soon as that trailer was done, I'm like, I'm not watching the rest of this fucking show. They gave me what I wanted right off the bat. So
Right.
that's it, and I just fucking shut it off. So this is a much bigger event in comparison here. So I would say it's safe. So as I said, with that in mind, it's got to be somebody that I would say both sides of the community, or all regions. So say North America, Europe, and Japan. It's got to be a character
upgrade
that
Gino.
that's not happening. Like it's not happening. I have more faith in fucking Isaac getting upgraded from an assist trophy than Gino getting upgraded from a purchasable Mii costume.
Oh yeah.
Not only you gotta buy the Fighter's Pass, but you also gotta buy the Gino Mii
Yeah,
costume.
you gotta pay like
Gino.
a fucking a couple
ultimate
bucks for
scam.
that costume. So you gotta pay for that fucking costume already for your Mii's. So yeah, he's completely out of it. So it's got to be a character
but still, think about the scam that would be. That'd be hilarious. Maybe people who bought the fucking Mii DLC costume, to get it early.
If there was ever a way to do a red herring to make you think he wasn't coming to the game, I would say giving him a Mii costume was the good way to throw people off that radar. As he went all out for that character.
Imagine people who bought the DLC costume before the reveal, they get it early, while everyone else has to wait.
So.
And another thing is that it's definitely something different. Like, if Gino were to get in, it's definitely something that hasn't been done before. However, it's not particularly off-brand because there are Mii Fighter costumes that are based off of characters in game, like the Isabelle costume, the K. Rool costume, the Link
Okay.
costume.
They were
You
all,
see,
most of those
like
were in
that.
Wii
the
U.
difference between that and well, you see the difference between that is like let's say that there's a Samus Me costume. Samus is already in the game. Like Isabelle's already a confirmed newcomer. There's never
Exactly.
been a time where there's been a Me costume that comes out, then the reveal of the character.
Yeah,
And that's why I'm saying that it's a new concept, but it's not particularly off-brand.
no, it just
You know
hasn't
what I
been done in the cycle
It
where the
is
costume was
off-brand.
relevant.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I don't think that'll happen. But anyway,
Yeah, I doubt it will. But
I
so
think that has like a 0% chance of happening, like at all.
So
Sound
do you
way
guys
too
have your
unlikely.
own prediction of sorts who that character could be that is worthy of saving all the way till June, where they didn't have to do it in May, that they are saving it for this event here? Do you have a personal prediction as it speaks? Because I'm about to go over the community front runners
Yeah.
right now that are getting talked about
Oh
quite a bit.
boy.
You want to take
I
the
know
reins
Bliss is
on
gonna
this,
say.
Loafs? You seem pretty excited, so I'm gonna let you have the floor here.
So I was the biggest proponent for Raiden for Smash. I wanted that music in. I've been screaming it for days and days and days. There's been leaks of a placeholder of a dark pit with an arrow stuck through him and delayed projectile activation. Everybody immediately screamed Chief. Devil May Cry 4 had Lucifer, a weapon with the same kind of properties as the Needler, delayed activation. You could choose when to activate it. You could have out 15 of the swords at once. Say you tone that down for Smash, 5 or 7 swords out on the field, either stuck in opponents or stuck on the field. You activate them like traps. Dante's been wanted by the community for how long?
Long
That
time.
would be a huge thing for E3.
I think
Honestly, I'm surprised Bale got it before Dante.
Yeah.
maybe they were waiting to. I don't. Yeah, like I mean, he is a character that does definitely suit where
Well, I
like
guess
everybody
Bale
would go
was
nuts for it.
voted in, so.
And I
guess
mean, when it
I
comes,
guess Bale was voted for, so it's kind of different, but still.
I don't know if they were just waiting to, because before the Devil May Cry couple games that they released on, I think they released a couple of them on the Switch last year. I could be wrong, but I think they did. It was like for the first like 3 or something like that, and they just kind of ported over to the Switch and you could download them. I don't know if Dante had been on a Nintendo console prior to that, those Switch ports. Can anybody know his history there? Anybody?
The magical power of
Yeah.
La Google.
I just don't know if any Devil May Cry, other than those ports on the Switch, had him actually appear on a Nintendo console before. Because regardless, they've been ported to the Switch for well over a year now, so that's not an issue anymore. I think he is a key candidate should Capcom get another character. I do think he has some slight competition in terms of maybe Phoenix Wright being that Capcom character because of the DS history. And
No, not that I know of. Well, I looked it up.
Yeah, no,
and
I didn't think so.
I essentially got the answer. No.
Yeah,
no,
so those
you know nothing.
those Switch ports were the only ones that have come out, and that's only in the last year it's been released. And I know Nintendo really does kind of care about at least having that character in their series have at least like a couple releases on their platforms before they release. And there are some exceptions though, like Joker. I don't know if he was really on a Nintendo platform before they released him for Challenger Pack 1. I don't think he did.
I think they kind of. I think they had a Joker, not only because he didn't want it.
It might have been like
but also
one.
to help them be able to push for like maybe, like bring Persona users to the Switch. So maybe when it's like, maybe another Shin Megami Tensei title, or maybe even. So maybe even some of the dumb bullshit like the Persona 5 fan just give their money to the Switch
So
and then make anything.
yeah, I mean there might have been a mini game that he kind of appeared in that counted, and that came out before they released him as DLC. Dragon Quest has tons of Nintendo history. Banjo-Kazooie started on the N64. Fatal Fury and King of Fighters have had ports since like the Super Nintendo. They've been getting released, so like that's Terry's fighting games. Obviously, Bio's first party.
Who the fuck knew who Terry was?
Yeah, I played Fatal Fury 2 SNES port. So he
So now we
made
have two of the
appearances.
three.
And we go to the second pass. Min Min is obviously first party from ARMS. Minecraft is released on everything nowadays, like including the
Right.
Switch.
You know, it's our indie darling.
So, and after that, it's Sephiroth, who you could maybe say, like Cloud, doesn't have the most Nintendo history. But
Sephiroth.
they made it in. There could have been some like little Final Fantasy like I don't know handheld games where they just kind of crossed over a bunch of games and it was a little spin-off where Cloud and Sephiroth could have made appearances in that. But as far as like any big time Final Fantasy releases in terms of 7, I don't think maybe it's ported to the Switch now. Maybe I don't know, but as far as like the main game for 7 itself, I know it largely had very little, if not none, of Nintendo's history, and Sephiroth and Cloud both still made it, but it's probably because they represent Final Fantasy as a whole, and it's the most popular game in the series, so an exception was made for it.
Well, they represent specifically the Final Fantasy VII series.
Yeah, this it says is Final Fantasy 7, and
So-
all tracks are from 7, but hey.
According to my
Except
quick
all
research,
of the-
Final
Yeah.
Fantasy actually was released on the NES.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, like the first couple ones were.
Yeah, the first
Yeah.
couple ones were Nintendo, and then they were handed over.
And then there was a big issue between Nintendo and Square shortly after Mario RPG, and then they started releasing stuff on PlayStation, and then I guess in the years since then they made up, but
Yeah.
still. And then we got Pyra and Mithra, who are first party. So then we go back. I mean,
Square became a little more loose with Nintendo.
yeah. So
You know,
I mean,
with the whole Sephiroth thing.
but Dante is a good candidate for a character that appeals to both, like all 3 regions. I think like all 3 regions he is highly requested in. He's been talked about forever. He was in that Crash Hayabusa territory for a long time, and then all of a sudden nobody thought he was possible anymore. So it's like he completely dropped off the radar. Like nobody's really expecting him to show up on Tuesday. Unlike Hayabusa and Crash, where like everybody's expecting them to show up.
Possible. I still feel like Dante is possible.
He's
But I feel like
possible.
the fact that we got met up before Dante does not spell good for Dante at all.
As I said, he's got like two contenders in terms of the Capcom spot and
Yeah,
Phoenix Wright.
not only did Bayo 1 and 2 get ported to Switch, but also Bayo 3 is going to be a Switch exclusive. So,
I also
guess that's why.
it may be because of Sephiroth, but what do y'all think about Chun-Li? Do you think that's a possibility?
That's
for
not
doing that?
fucking happening.
You don't think that's
Who
happening?
gives
No.
No, I don't think so.
Akuma's
You
no
think
farm.
not,
If
but
we're getting a Street Fighter character, we're getting a Akuma.
So, my take on Chun-Li is if you look at the usage rates of the Shotos in the game, minus like maybe Terry, you only have 3 Shotos in the game, right?
Mhm.
And the usage rate for 2 out of the 3, I can't speak for Terry, but the usage rate for Ken and Ryu are very low considering how complex they are, and they just I just feel
And the
like they
fact that they're
haven't
gonna have
really
to add a
caught
whole
much
input
higher.
and like a whole, I know, like there's a lot of stuff that Chun-Li had to do that well. And involves probably more complex inputs and hold inputs and all that shit.
So she'd be even more difficult to implement, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
And then
I
even
think
more hard to
mechanically
play.
she'd be easy to add, but like I feel like having like a ton of hold shit and like with Terry's hold stuff, like it just powers up the move. But to even do Chun-Li's moves, you have to have hold. So like I feel like people would get largely turned off by Chun-Li's bullshit.
Well, that's like every
Which is
character.
why I find
Every character's got
I mean,
bullshit
yeah,
at
but, like-
to some extent, right? So
yeah, but I feel like Chun-Li's bullshit is just far more of a turnoff to most people.
again,
As a Shoto main myself, I would love for Chun-Li to be in the game. I like playing Shotos, but the usage rate is but a fraction of the Smash community, and I just don't see Shotos any Shotos for the last 2 slots, in my opinion.
fair enough. Phoenix Wright, I would say, as I mentioned a couple times, is another
No.
contender for the Capcom spot. They're like
Not
the only two
happening.
that I think rival Dante at all. And I shouldn't even
Phoenix
say
is
rival.
not happening.
You don't just two out there, just two. I mean, we've got a Wii Fit trainer. We
I
got
know
a,
he got. I know. Yeah, I mean,
we got
yeah,
Rob.
but
We
we
got Game and
trainer. We're
Watch.
promoting first party stuff. Rob, Nintendo loves legacy context. Game and Watch. Yeah, Nintendo also loves legacy shit
Mm-hmm.
far more than we do.
Probably.
But like, okay,
Fair
but
point.
like, and Game and Watch, when Game and Watch's initial edition, they just copied a bunch of shit from Mario and just gave it to him. So it was not like it was a hard thing to add. If anything,
Right.
he was more just there to fill up a roster slot and be a character.
But
And
yeah.
okay,
Oh, were you gonna add more of why you think Phoenix Wright isn't happening?
yeah, and
Okay.
because Phoenix, okay, if we're going to be as faithful to the game as possible, Phoenix Wright doesn't do shit to fight. Have you seen Phoenix Wright just like beat the shit out of someone in court? No. The only reason he got added to that one fighting game is because it was largely a joke. Like, for the most part, it was kind of a joke, and everyone thought it was bad, and no one played him until someone revealed the fact that he's actually good.
Which was Marvel vs. Capcom, like Ultimate or something like that.
Yeah, some
Something like
shit
that.
like that. Yeah, something like that. But like, he's largely a joke character, and I feel like having a joke character for the last two. Well, we already got our joke
I will
character as Piranha Plant.
I will spin this. Pac-Man don't fight in the maze.
Yeah,
Right.
Pac-Man.
Shit.
Okay, yeah. So Bandai Namco had like a huge thing to do with like Smash, like
True.
ever since like Smash 4 and stuff. And Pac-Man is Bandai Namco, and so they want to have like they're kind of like their star representatives. It's like Mario. Pac-Man is timeless. Everyone knows who Pac-Man is.
Mm-hmm. But your issue against Phoenix Wright was saying that in his home game he doesn't fight. In Pac-Man's home game he just fucking eats pellets.
Yeah.
You know?
Until Capcom just straight up just starts developing a Smash game, I doubt it. Like I feel like the only chance Pac-Man had of getting it was because of the fact that Bandai Namco was helping with the fucking development of the fucking game. So they kind of had to dip their toe in.
Right. So
Like it was kind of an obligation character.
So we're all in a unanimous agreement that of the if Capcom should they get another character, Dante is the front runner. Should they if the big if, like it's like a big capital IF, should they get a character of one of these last two, and if it's the E3 reveal, Dante would be the most likely. I think that seems.
I do see Dante as the most likely. However, I do also see Phoenix Wright as an option due to the fact that he does have a moveset in another fighting game. And it's not the first time that
Smash
someone...
is about faithful. Smash has to be faithful in the game. He doesn't do shit to fight. How are you gonna make like in a fighting game, in any other random fighting game? Sure, you can give anyone a moveset, but like Smash has to be faithful to the characters. Represent their history. I feel like going to court in Smash isn't going to be very fun.
I just keep bringing up Pac-Man. I mean, does he do any of that shit in his
own games? And the thing is,
develop Smash 4.
But that's not your part. That's not your part of the argument, though. Your part of the argument is that characters have to be faithful. It's not the fact that it's because they help develop. Your key issue with him is saying he doesn't have
Pac-Man Smash attacks. Okay. So the thing is, Pac-Man. Okay, the thing is, the reason Pac-Man got in is because Bandai Namco developing the game. They had to dip their toe in. Obligation character. Obligation.
So what you're saying is that since he was the exception, he doesn't count? Because if so, that's fair. I think it's a bit of a cop-out, but fair exception.
Enough. I mean, exactly. He is the exception,
I think it's a bit of a cop-out, but fair enough. Fair enough.
I feel like there's not really much of a cop-out, because unless Capcom starts developing Smash with Nintendo, which they aren't going to do because the game's already finished.
I will say this, though.
That Phoenix is going to get in.
Of the three...
I feel like Mega Man was enough of a love letter to Capcom.
It was. Then they dipped the Street Fighter. But to be fair, like, that's one of the bigger fucking fighting game franchises.
Ryu and Ken, like, easy way to fill up a roster spot.
Yeah, and they're big characters, and it was about time that it was only a matter of time before like fighting game characters came into Smash. Now, granted, there's very few of them, but they happened.
Right.
They happened. I will give one thing. Like, Dante seems like he would maybe translate. I don't want to say he might be the easiest to develop, but he could have a gauge of sorts. He's got tons of combo material you can work with.
So you have like a
There's
witch time type thing with this Quicksilver shit.
there's a lot of stuff you can do there with him. I would say that is probably very appealing, and I mean, I would say he's still even more requested. Like I know like a lot of people just won't have requested Phoenix right just for the what the fuck factor, but as far as Capcom characters that I see get brought up a decent amount that aren't in yet, I would say Dante is the one who definitely does have the most requests. So by that alone, I think he's definitely a good candidate for the E3 reveal. Should it be Capcom that gets the Duke, so to speak. From there though, we gotta I guess go over the other popular ones that are kind of floating about in because he is one of them. He is one of the candidates that's kind of talked about. I guess like people have been skewering like social media and all that and different forum sites and going over like the data for how much they see like different threads or posts be made about specific characters. Dante is in the top five. He's number 3. At number 1, I guess we'll just go down this list that I got from this interesting thread I read today. The number 1 talked about is Cinderace. The fucking
Really?
new
No,
Pokemon.
Fuck up.
I know. I didn't want this.
It's going to be Urshifu. Or maybe even like fucking. I feel like Regieleki and Regidrago are more likely than Cinderace. Because at least they're from the Crown Tundra. I feel like maybe Calyrex is far more likely than Cinderace. Because, Crown Tundra. Like, I feel like they're going to add Pokemon. They're either going to add Urshifu, to promote getting the pass in general, or they're going to add Calyrex, to promote getting the pass. For like the big Pokemon of their DLC packs. I feel like just adding a random ass Cinderace in there, for a Pokemon, when you could just literally have free promotion. I feel like that's just it just makes no sense. And besides, I've never seen someone who would just like, man, I want Cinderace in Smash Bros. Where's Cinderace?
Fair. Los, were you
What
about to
has
say
said that?
something?
I mean, if you're going off that point, Cinderace is one of the starters for Sword and Shield, and it does like it's not
Everyone
it's not exactly like promoting the DLC, but it's not promoting it because it's promoting the game as a whole, which includes the DLC as well. And so I could see
Yeah, but
Cinderace.
I feel like most people who wanted Sword and Shield and really wanted it that badly have probably already bought it. And assuming they aren't in a position where they could have bought it,
Right.
and I feel like adding Cinderace, wouldn't really do much to like make people who don't have money for it suddenly have the money for it.
Yeah, and again, it doesn't really need to be
Because
Cinderace.
Sword and Shield's been out for a while.
You could look
Like,
at
how
this
long?
as any Pokemon from Sword and Shield, from the base game to the DLC they've done after.
I feel like if any
Just the
Pokemon
idea of a
will
new
happen, it's either going to be
Pokemon, right?
Calyrex. Yeah, but I feel like if any Pokemon's likely, it's Urshifu. And Urshifu is literally a fighting type Pokemon. You could have maybe
Yeah.
like a special thing with the duck type and the water type stuff.
Well, he would have
And
stance
not
changes,
to mention
wouldn't
the
he?
fact that
He'd have stance
yeah, you could have
changes,
like a whole stance change type thing.
which would be
Although it wouldn't
interesting.
be
I
too
mean,
faithful, it'd be a way to add both. It wouldn't be too faithful, but it would be a way to add both Urshifus.
but here's
Or
my
they're going to add
thing:
Calyrex.
Pokemon is almost
Replace
like
Calyrex.
it's almost like an expected thing for Smash Brothers. Like it's like, oh yeah, they're gonna add another first party, whatever, right? Wouldn't that
Right.
just been like is that really something they would save for to like E3, like an event like this? It's bigger than the Game Awards where they showed off
I
Sephiroth
feel
and
like
it's
it
a
would
new
be at
Pokemon.
E3
I don't know.
specifically. Okay, if we get 2, it's not going to be a Pokemon. But if we get 1, I feel like the next one could very well be a Pokemon.
I doubt it, because
I wouldn't put
E3,
that out of the question.
E3, all eyes are gonna be on E3, and with that being said, Nintendo Direct is gonna be looked upon by a lot of people. So with this one, you got to really go big or go home. And so I'd say I doubt any first party members would be added with 2 left. The first party member could be saved till later. This is a good opportunity to add in a third party that multiple fandoms would be able to pop off about. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm thinking too. That's where I'm thinking it's going.
So the likelihood of a Pokemon is slim, and if it were to be a Pokemon, there is the news of Legends Arceus and Br- Brilliant Diamond, whatever Pearl, Shining Pearl, they're coming out, and we haven't heard much news about that either. If they were to, maybe a Pokemon Direct comes out, and then a new Pokemon or a Pokemon featured in those games might be added. Who knows?
To be fair, imagine if they say Pokemon like they did Fire Emblem, and then that's just the way they end it. So E3, people pop off for the second last character, and then they get the new Pokemon in right there at the end and save it for the sixth and final character. I don't know. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but that seems more Nintendo than doing a Pokemon at E3. It seems like they'd want people to pop off for this one, and then they can get away with whatever character ends it, you know?
Right. Yeah.
It seems like more than Nintendo
that would
thing
be
to
a
do.
that would be a good idea if they were doing two characters.
Alright.
Like maybe a second party. I mean, a first party to like end it, but like the first character is gonna be third party for sure.
All right, so the number 2 character talked about in the speculation sphere these days that gets a lot of posts about is, of course, everybody's very well expected Crash Bandicoot. I think he's like unanimously the character that everybody expects to be shown off. I am not so optimistic. I think his chances are very 50-50. Could happen,
Really?
but there's also a chance that it doesn't. Yes, I don't think he's a given like everybody seems to think he is. I think like a lot of people who think Crash is a given are opening themselves up to big time disappointment when it is not him that gets revealed in next week. I mean, there is a chance he does get revealed because that would be the time to do it, because Crash has history at E3. His game was revealed for the first time ever at E3 '96, I believe it was. It was the
Right.
They showed it off. It was I had this big moment in the presentation. It was going to be a PlayStation exclusive. He was Sony's mascot for all those years, competing with the likes of Mario on Nintendo and Sonic on the Sega platforms.
Sega, yeah.
Then they let him go, and Activision somehow bought one of Sony's most illustrious IPs from them, and they just kind of let them buy it out. And so then Crash became multi-console, and then he started appearing on the Game Boy after the Activision purchase, and he started appearing here and there on pretty much all platforms. But he got after the Activision buyout, he got a few Game Boy releases, few main platform releases, and then he kind of just went away for a while, and there was absolutely nothing going on with him. And then all of a sudden, there were the big the Insane trilogy where they did the remasters of Crash, and then all of a sudden his popularity like skyrocketed again, and that did get released on the Switch. The thing that Crash has going for him that pretty much a lot of the other Western characters we might talk about today do not have going for them is his localization has actually worked very well in Japan. Like his series, even if they do redesign him to be like Japanese Crash for the market or whatever, but when all of his main titles have been released there, even the most the remasters that got released, like the Insane trilogy and even Crash 4 got released there and localized there. So he has a big history there, which gives him an edge over a good number of the Western characters, because at the end of the day, what they care about is appeasing all the markets. Sure, maybe Banjo wasn't the most requested character in Japan, but they showed off Hero, and Dragon Quest was like hella requested in Japan, so they kind of did a 2-for-1 deal back then,
right,
2 years ago, whereas Crash would be very well received from the Japanese audience because it's like one of the only Western platforming series that is localized there and localized well. So I'll give him that. He has that over pretty much every other Western character we'll talk about. But at the same time, again, with this past being 6 characters, there's always a chance for a wild card. But we already have one non-Japanese character with like the Minecraft Challenger Pack, like Steve and Alex.
Right.
And maybe with this there being 6, there is the chance that you could do one more. I don't really know. I think it still might be safer to say that they go with somebody of Japanese origin, which, as we mentioned earlier with Dante, he is Japanese created in origin. So I don't know. I mean, with Crash, it goes very much 50-50. At least his series is localized well in Japan. He's got a decent fan base there. He's got that going for him. However, he is owned by Activision, and I've heard that they can be a rather touchy company to try and do negotiations with. I know they're not like Disney level bad, but I've heard things about Activision where it's would Nintendo want, did they actually persevere with negotiations with them, and he does get shown off in just a matter of a week. I don't know. We'll find out, but I go 50-50 on him. I mean, if he does show up, cool. He's super expected, and a super expected character actually happened for once in this past, but every time there's a super predicted character and this character is next, there's somebody else that gets revealed instead that blows the mind in another way, where it's like, oh wow, they're huge, but nobody was see them coming. They weren't in speculation at all, you know? So whereas Crash is so expected that he'd be like the one, if he does get revealed, he'd be the one where it's like everybody expected him and he did actually happen to get revealed, which would be the first time that's happened this pass. What do you think though, Andy? Overall for him.
See, I'm a big fan of Crash Bandicoot.
Same.
I played all his games, you know. I just love Crash Bandicoot. And so seeing him in the game would be an absolute godsend for me. And you know, there's tons of evidence pointing towards his likeliness, you know.
Fair enough,
Sakurai
sure.
himself, or I'm not sure if it was Sakurai, but I know the Smash team has said that they want to work with Crash, you know, like they want to get him in the game. And you know, there's like the voice actor for Crash is coming back and doing stuff. You know, there's pictures on Twitter and shit, like kind of teasing, like we're not sure if it's exactly.
It could be anything though, man. That could just be like a you know, mobile game or like, whatever, right? So you don't know what they're doing.
So like you have all this stuff, and it's like, you know, it definitely could be Crash is coming to Smash, but at the same time, it could all very well be misconstrued information that like we kind of were grasping at points and making them fit, even though it might not have been what we thought it was. So
that's why I say I go 50-50, man. Is one side he could happen, the other side don't be surprised if he doesn't, right?
It could be one of the greatest things to happen. You know, great character, could be probably very fun, but at the same time it could be a big heartbreak for me personally, anyways.
Los, what do you think?
I'm sure for a lot of fans.
Los, what do you have to think about Mr. Bandicoot and his potential?
Crash coming to Fortnite. All Smash players disappointed. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Speaking of Fortnite, we're gonna talk about something regarding it in terms of Nintendo potentially being in on that, and I'll get your guys' opinion on it. It's just a rumor, but it'll be interesting to discuss nonetheless. So I take it, Los, that you think he's not happening at all with that response. Like, you're not even giving him 50-50.
I don't see him on 10. I could definitely see him on pass 11 if Waluigi isn't the big choice.
Okay, that is fair.
I mean, we've already had certain leaks about possibilities of things like Chief and Dante, but as number 11 or even as a double reveal, Dante and Crash, yeah, definitely.
Is Hebby still here? Did he go away? Is he still here? He's been quiet for a while, so I'm assuming he is away from his speaking area. And if so, I could get his opinion on it as he comes back. We can roll on to the next character. As I said, number 3 was Dante. We fully talked about him. Number 4, I can't. So this is coming from Sephiroth bandwagoning, but apparently Eggman is still being talked about as a potential next Sega character. But I just feel like it's just all like Sephiroth bandwagon. Well, like a third-party villain happened, that means the next one's got to be a third-party villain. I mean, fighting in a mech would be cool with what Robotnik could do. You know, like, I mean, it'd be some interesting stuff with them for sure, but I wouldn't say that he's the most likely. I mean, anybody who's talking about him is literally only talking about him because Sephiroth happened, and that's pretty much as I want to say there. Like, I would think the inclusion would be really cool. I think giving Sonic another character, like giving that series another character, and I mean, an issue that any Sonic character has at this point is what stage are they going to use? B, the music tracks, what is not already included from the series, and C, probably the biggest one of all, which is going to be another issue for one of the other characters we talk about. What new spirits could Eggman even bring with him at this point? It's not really much, right? Or am I just kind of blanking on stuff there? Or am I just overestimating it? Is there that many more Sonic spirits that could come with the evil doctor here, or what?
I mean, no, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Loaves?
So, I think there's plenty of. The thing is that the Sonic universe has a lot of fucking characters, but not a lot of them are recognizable by the general population. You know, you have to be a Sonic fan to get them. But like, you know, with other franchises, there's characters that like you look at them and then you look at their side characters. You're like, oh yeah, that's a character in that game. Mario, namely, like you can look at a Koopa and be like, yeah, that's a Mario villain. But so that those could be like ideas for the spirits. As for Eggman himself, I hate the idea of Eggman being.
Do you actually hate it? Yeah, why? I'm curious to know why.
I think he's just such a joke, you know. And also this like bandwagoning with Sephiroth. You know, it's like, why? Like, who has played any good Sonic game in the like recent years? Like, Sonic hasn't made any good games for quite a good while.
I will be devil's advocate here and say Eggman would be added on merit and his involvement in the first couple games on the Genesis and for his history rather than for anything recent from the franchise.
So,
devil's advocate there for you, but go on.
The addition of Eggman would honestly, I feel like, not really benefit Nintendo, but benefit, you know, Sega, in the fact that they'd be giving Sega a little more popularity than Nintendo would be getting Eggman. You know, I just don't like the idea. You know, he could be cool. You know, mech suits. He's done a bunch of crazy stuff in both the anime and the games. But, you know, I just think he's just such a joke. And honestly, with Eggman being, like, you know, using this technology, he'd probably be a zoner, which would piss me off that much more.
I would say he'd be more like Bowser Jr. bait and punish, that style of bait and punish anyway, where, you know, there's some projectiles in the mix, but it's all about getting clunk shots, and I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. Maybe. Loafs, I know you're a big fan of this character, so I'll let you speak your piece on him.
He's in the same boat as Raiden. He's not fucking happy.
100% Sephiroth bandwagon, right? I think we can all universally agree that the only reason he's brought up is because one third-party villain happens, so the next one has to be a third-party villain. Which
they would bring in somebody like, I don't know, Knuckles or Silver. Knuckles could get Angel Island. Silver has a bunch of related stages that I have no idea about. Yeah, he's a spirit, but so is Min Min. Whatever.
Right. Knuckles would be, if that happened to him, he'd be an assist trophy that got upgraded. So
yeah,
and I think if they were going to upgrade an assist trophy, it would come from in-house rather than a third party. I mean, we could probably get to that in just a.
I mean, Little Mac got upgraded between games. Wait, is Knuckles an assist trophy?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does like a homing attack. He's annoying.
Which is another thing too, is that if they were to add a Sonic character. Firstly, I don't want any Sonic character, but if they were to add one, I guess I'd be okay with Eggman. Like, again, I hate the idea; he's a joke. But if they were to add another Sonic character, it'd just be Sonic 2.0. He'd have some kind of spin dash, and then like a little variation of moves, and that would just automatically.
I don't like how much lack of faith you have about what they would do with the Sonic characters. Like, it's not gonna be the same shit. I'm very disappointed by your lack of faith with them. You know, making them diverse.
Just don't. I think it's a joke.
Andy, hear me out.
Yeah, go on, Loafs. Go speak your piece.
Chaotix in the same style as Pokemon Trainer.
No, that would actually work really good. It's just too bad they're not.
Yeah, that's not too bad of an idea.
But like, how many people are they bopping on, like the Sonic Heroes fans jumping at that shit? You know, it's like
right, exactly. Like, it's not that big of a recognizable character.
So I don't know. It'd be nice to see another Sonic character. And Eggman's the only. I hear Tails get brought up a little bit, but like he's a purchasable Mii costume. I don't know why anybody's thinking he's all that likely. It's like.
Yeah.
They're like,
yeah,
oh, it's either Eggman or Tails if they get another one. I'm like, you do know Tails is like a DLC Mii costume, right? Like, people have to pay for that costume. And just immediately disqualifies him. And Eggman's only brought up because Sephiroth happened. And I think Sephiroth... I will say this. I think Sephiroth will be the only third-party villain in this pass. I think that'll make him more unique. I think it makes him stand out. And I think he was the only villain they really cared about doing that for, you know? So it's like...
Right.
Until I'm proven wrong, and I love being proven wrong, and I've been proven wrong this entire pass. So, but
Yeah.
I still can't feel that Eggman is nothing more than a bandwagon villain. So,
You know it'd be, like, majorly disappointing?
What's that?
Sonic with projectiles. Metal Sonic.
Oh, that's one I didn't even consider. It's somewhat like Metal Sonic has been around for like a long time. He's like Robotnik's evil version of Sonic. He was a key boss. Could happen, but I still don't think it's all that likely enough. I still think Eggman would get in over Metal Sonic, but
Right.
would that be your worst nightmare though? Sonic with projectiles?
Oh yeah, I'd try. I'd delete the game.
Uninstall the software immediately. All right, so
Yeah,
next
yeah.
on this is they have it listed as Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 rep. I will just encompass this in saying a newcomer from the Zelda series as a possibility for E3. I don't know if it's all that likely. I mean, we talked about the Pokemon thing. Legend of Zelda is... I mean, they have 3 Links and like 2 Zeldas and Ganon. It's like, it's really... They could die for, you know, a unique newcomer to that series, but I don't know if E3 would be the place to do that necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that should be something that maybe they could get away with saving for the end and not June. I will say that they could that series could use a newcomer of some sort, but look at what they've already done. Like Skull Kid's an assist trophy, Midna's an assist trophy already. I guess you could do Impa, but how different would they be from Sheik? I don't really know. I guess maybe you could do a few things here and there to make her a little different, but
You're forgetting that they already upgraded Link to be Breath of the Wild
I
Link.
know. So
They completely downgraded Toon Link, changed a few of his things, and gave it to Young Link instead. So Toon Link felt different from Young Link, and then they took Young Link and turned him into regular Link and turned him into Breath of the Wild.
And then regular
to
Link
push
is Breath
him
of the...
away from Young Link.
Yeah, and it was to get eyes on Breath of the Wild, and it has its stage, and I mean the sequel itself, all we're gonna get is like a trailer for it. Like I don't even think that game is gonna be coming out by the end of this year. I don't think so. I don't think so. We'll get into that a little more because I think all we get is a trailer. Hey.
And why? Oh, Heavy's back.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dolo. Say your piece.
I'm back.
Say your
Yeah,
piece.
but why would they put out a rep for a character for a game that hasn't even come out yet? Like,
that is true.
have they ever done that?
They haven't. They haven't, except unless you want to count Roy, and that was in Melee. Unless you want to count that, but that's pretty much about it.
Well, that's Melee.
You know, Roy I guess came out before that Fire Emblem game came out in Japan. Like Melee came out, and then that Fire Emblem game with Roy.
I'm pretty sure that game was supposed to come out around the same time, or
it just beat
I'm
it.
pretty sure it got delayed.
It just beat it. Like he's like the only exception, and that was in Melee. But since then, no. But again, it doesn't necessarily need to represent Breath of the Wild 2. It could just be a Zelda character at large, just to give that series a unique newcomer that's not a Link or
I feel
Zelda.
like they're going to add another one. I feel like if they're going to add another LOZ character, you can only do it to promote the new game.
Yeah, I don't think that new game's coming out this year.
Yeah, and it's probably never going to come out this year. And I doubt they're going to add like fucking hydrated Ganon. They're gonna add Skelligan and...
Yeah, I mean, I would not be against that series getting a new character, but I just don't think that that's necessarily E3.
So, there just aren't any... I just don't think there's...
It's like the same issue I have with Pokemon, right? It's the same issue I have with Pokemon.
I don't think they're... I don't think they're E3. I don't think it's E3 worthy, and I just don't think it's likely.
Okay, so we also went over these 2 characters before you left, Heavy, and we all came and did a little thing on them. What are your thoughts on Crash in terms of likeliness, and your thoughts on him and all that shit? I said I went 50-50. I went 50-50. I gave him split. I said he could happen, but then there's a big chance
I'll give him a 15% chance that he gets in.
So extremely unlikely then. Okay. I figured that was going to be your answer.
I feel like he's next to impossible.
That's fair. That's fair. As I said, I gave him
Okay,
a
because
little
like
bit of a chance due to his series doing well in Japan and localizing well there, but I still give it 50-50.
okay, yeah, but I'm pretty sure that I might be thinking of a different character, but the way they advertise Crash in Japan compared to how they advertise Crash in the U.S. were very different.
Sure, it's like
Like,
they got the
so
there's
I
a
feel like you just
Japanese
can't like
Crash.
switch up the personality specifically when you change the
Oh, they could
Japanese.
always use the
Specifically when you
Crash
change
4 render. That released in Japan, no problem. They used the same render
I
for
mean,
Crash 4, and it's
yeah,
his newest render, so you could get away with doing that. But
Yep.
yeah,
it's a chance, right?
they could, but and also I just think okay, it might just be because I have a very small amount of friends. But I feel like after Crash 4 got revealed, I don't think anyone gave a fuck. Like no one I knew gave like and not even half of a fuck. They couldn't care less.
Well,
And Crash 4 does look fun, but
I'll say at least he got a new
I just don't
game.
think
Banjo
I
didn't
don't
have
think
that
Crash
going
is
for him, and he
equally
still got revealed. So
I mean, yeah, but
Yeah.
Banjo. I mean, but since the dawn of Smash, people just like Banjo,
fair,
Banjo.
fair.
Please add Banjo.
And
I've never seen people just like, please add Crash.
oh, you
I'm
haven't
like,
been
no.
looking in the right
It's
areas,
just been
man.
like,
I see him talked
it's
about
just possible,
constantly.
but I've never seen an ad. I've never seen anyone ask for Crash.
And then the last one we
But
talked
like, I
about,
see people think, oh, Crash is possible.
and the last one we talked about was Eggman. Before the
I, think-
Legend of
I
Zelda character.
see.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. I feel like if they release one character, like if they reveal one character at E3, it's definitely not going to be fucking Eggman. If they release one character, I say Eggman is possible. If they release if they like reveal both of the characters, then hell to the no. Eggman is not nearly E3 worthy at all.
We all dubbed him to be a person that the fan base is talking about because they're Sephiroth bandwagoning. Would you agree with that assessment from the three of us? That's the only reason we even talked about him. Because,
Yes.
Because that's pretty well
I've seen people even before Sephiroth is the wanting Eggman. I just feel like
there's one thing from wanting him and then
of
expecting
Eggman
him. That's
has
two
been
different
promoted.
things, but you know.
No, but okay, yeah, but like in my time of knowing what I know, which probably isn't much in the grand scope of things, but from what I know, people have wanted Eggman for a long time, and and if they release one, then if they reveal one character at E3, then I'll get the Eggman. I'll make it the last character, ending it off, with some love to Sega.
Fair. And what was your opinion on
But I feel like
Dante?
if they reveal,
What was your opinion on Dante? Did you think he was
Possible.
likely, or is he
But-
like a 50-50?
I feel like he's possible, but I may give him I'll give him a 45% chance.
Well, that's still the highest that you've given of the
I mean-
5 so far that I've listed here.
Yeah, like the
All
thing
right.
is, like we got Bayonetta before we got Dante. We got
Fair,
Bayo
but
fucking
Dante's shit
Netta.
wasn't on
And
Nintendo.
Dante's far more relevant. I mean, yeah,
They
but,
care about that.
I mean,
they care
yeah,
about
but
that for third
I want to
parties.
know how much traction did Bayonetta get for Nintendo compared to anyone who bought it on the Xbox or the PlayStation? I feel like it'd be very relatively low.
I almost feel like Bayonetta's like a
Considering
glorified
half
first-party
people.
title now. It's like I know it's third party,
I mean, it
but
came out on the
it
Xbox first.
almost
It's a
feels like
Sega.
it's a Nintendo exclusive these days. You know, it feels like
I mean,
it.
Bayo 3 is going to be a Switch exclusive because Nintendo and because Nintendo and Sega have been tongue fucking for years now.
All right, so the next up on our list is
What?
a Bandai Namco character. It's Lloyd from Tales of.
No, who the fuck is Lloyd?
He's
Honestly,
from,
who
he's
the fuck is Lloyd?
JRPG Pro Tag, baby.
Yeah, but
JRPG
so,
Pro Tag from
Who the
Symphonia.
fuck is him? Who the fuck is Lloyd?
He was a Mii costume in
I've seen
Wii
maybe
U.
all of. Well, if he's the Mii costume, he got cut. I feel like he's just too irrelevant.
He's the only Mii
He's
costume
so
that doesn't come
irrelevant,
back.
he can
That's
be
pretty much
costume.
another reason why people are talking about him. He's the only
I mean,
Wii
yeah,
U
but if you-
Mii
but if you-
costume not to
It was
return.
barely relevant enough. If he was barely relevant enough to get a costume review, the fact that they kept the costume in Ultimate just means that I feel like that means he's just less relevant. They're
Wow.
going to. I feel like he's going to release. I feel like if a Bandai Namco character does get in, he's going to be released with a new costume. He's just right there, just sitting there, just being a new costume, kind of like how they did with Gino, with the Sephiroth reveal. if you get a Bandai Namco character, I don't think it's going to be Lloyd. But if you get a Bandai Namco character, Lloyd is going to be the Mii costume. Just dead ass.
I mean, he could represent the series, and I mean, I still think like if
Oh,
Tails gets a
him.
character, people are not really talking about Yuri as much as they should be, because
Who the fuck is Yuri?
he's another protagonist from that series that's actually happens to be like more popular than Lloyd, especially in Japan. So it's like
I feel like the more popular ones get him.
I think he's more popular. I mean, I see people talk about Vesperia at times more than I hear them talk about Symphonia. But yeah, it's like that's kind of like the only Namco character that gets talked about, and really, it's mainly Lloyd gets to talk because his Mii costume is like just missing, and people find that interesting. And
I mean, yeah, but you know, the Mii costume was missing from most of the game's lifespan.
I know,
When we got
but like this
fucking,
costume is literally the only one
Sephiroth.
missing now. Like all the rest of them have returned, and it's still not back. And now, granted, it
Yeah,
can still come back.
which is
with
why
somebody.
I think if we get a Bandai Namco rep that's hype enough for E3, or maybe hype enough for something after E3, assuming they only reveal one, Lloyd is definitely going to be the costume. I just don't think Lloyd. It just
No, I
No.
think if for Namco, Dark Souls might be more possible. I mean, that's a series that
if you get Dark
they could
Souls, you're
represent, but-
probably going to get Lloyd as a costume.
Yeah, or
But I just feel like Lloyd is just a costume, maybe. But he just hasn't released yet because it hasn't been another Bandai character.
yeah, I mean they're waiting a long time for that Namco character. If they get one, they get one.
Yeah,
Los,
it might be entirely possible that
Lo-
Lloyd might even get into the game, and he won't get in as a costume either.
Los, what do you think about
Yeah, that's
Tails potentially happening? Do you find Lloyd's costume not coming back interesting? Do you think it has anything to do? Do you think it will come back as a Mii costume? Do you think there's a chance he does get upgraded? What do you think of the whole Tails of situation right now?
I've played some of the Tales of games.
Mm-hmm.
They're good. I just
Good question mark.
I've never played Symphonia. I've never even known of fucking Lloyd until this.
That's fair.
Like,
He only appeared on that GameCube title.
Lloyd is really irrelevant.
One game only,
Yeah.
baby. That's it.
yeah, they change up cast for each and every game. So
Mhm.
it's like, unless you're gonna just keep appealing to the same old game, they might as well push out a Tales of Berserkia character. Hell, at least that released recently.
Right, because even Yuri's game is like Vesperia is like from like 2008.
Oh, Vesperia. Ugh.
Yeah, it's a long time ago now. It's like 12 years ago, but
Yeah.
as I said,
I
it's
played
literally
Vesperia,
the
so-
only reason it's brought
Yeah.
up is because of that Mii costume that's missing. It's pretty much the only reason.
feel like
I do
it's
find
like-
that very
I feel
weird.
like hoping for Lloyd. I feel like it's not weird. It's either Lloyd is just too irrelevant. No one gives a fuck about his Mii costume anymore.
But they gave a fuck about all the
B,
other ones.
he's
They gave
gonna
a
get
fuck
rid-
about Gil, dude. Like,
I mean,
Or-
yeah, but
Gil fucking came
who the fuck
back.
is Gil? I mean, yeah, but I feel like Gil might be more relevant than Lloyd.
I don't know.
You know what?
Is Lloyd?
It wouldn't
like
be
Tales of
crazy to
Symphonia,
have a character.
hasn't.
It wouldn't be crazy for them to have a character, you're saying? No?
Yeah, and then put that costume on the fighter's passes.
Yeah, like, I
Just
mean,
relevant
I could see Tails getting a character. I just, like, for it to be the Challenger Pack 10 only reveal of E3, I don't think that's super likely. I mean, Namco...
I also don't think they're gonna end it off with Lloyd either.
I mean, Dark Souls is, like, a bigger series, I would say. Is that fair enough to say it's a bigger series than Tales? I don't think that's
Yeah,
crazy
well,
to say. That's
but I also don't feel Souls getting in.
That
Yeah.
point in 2017, where if your game was good, it was the Dark Souls of its genre.
So, yeah, I mean...
Dark Souls is just the ultimate comparison for like a long time.
That would probably
before
be...
game journalists knew they actually had to write shit that makes sense.
That's more. I would say Dark Souls is more E3 level big to show off, and then Lloyd could obviously come with that because it's the Challenger Pack or whatever. But I don't know. I still got this feeling that like Pac-Man is going to be like the only Bandai Namco character. He's like the only one. I think they're going to keep it that
I see
way.
another Bandai character is possible.
It's
I just
possible.
don't think that Lloyd. I feel like if they're going to release a Lloyd Mii Fighter costume, they're either just going to do it randomly and be like, "Oh yeah, Lloyd is back now," haha. or they're going to release it on with another Bandai character, like how they added Gino with Sephiroth.
Andy,
It's either that or Lord's just not. He just doesn't get representation.
Andy, what would you feel if another JRPG sword wielding, in this case double sword wielding protagonist was the coveted E3 reveal?
No, so I don't think Lloyd would be too unique of a character. From what I know like Lloyd has 2 swords, but that's kind of it.
Yeah, I don't have much experience with the Tales of series, you know. I only know from what I've heard from like pop culture, and so I don't really have much of an opinion on it.
I'm
if
more
he's
getting
added,
your
sure.
opinion on another like JRPG pro tags. That's the fucking thing going around, right? Is like
JRPG pro tags. I'm totally for it, you know.
I'm fine with it too. As much as like some people are tired of it, it's like many of the most popular, I guess, protagonists have been that. So
I got a
it's
problem
like
with that idea. I feel like his JRPG character would be fine.
I mean, JRPGs, they're fun. Go ahead, add another sword character. The thing is, like, I think the reason I'm sick of sword characters is because they're all Fire Emblem. But if they were like to, you know, mix it up, sure, I'm fine with it. So if they like brought in another JRPG where they had like swords and shit, sure, I don't care. Go ahead.
All right, so yeah, I mean, literally, he's only here because of that mysterious missing Wii U Mii costume, which could come back literally at any time. Could come back with whoever gets revealed at Challenger Pack 10. I mean, just because it's not there doesn't mean it ain't coming back, but it is some food for thought. Next up on the list is
the Gino situation.
Is the Spartan himself, Master Chief from Halo.
No.
Heavy is totally against this character. Is 100% against it.
I think I'm very against this. Like,
I know.
No.
I know you're very against it.
The waste of a slot.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. That's a very big name character. The only issue he's got is I don't think Halo's all that cared about in Japan at all. I don't think like.
I've never heard of a Japanese Halo player.
I haven't either. So that's like the one thing he's got really going against him. Like at least Crash has Japanese fans. Chief, on the other hand, I don't think so.
I feel like Chief is more possible than Crash.
Really?
You really don't want him to get in the game.
Really? Why do you think he's more possible if he's got less fans in Japan?
Master Chief name.
Why do you think?
I really don't want to get.
Why do you think he's more possible if he's got less fans in Japan?
Because everyone knows Halo.
Fair.
Everyone knows. Even if he's not popular in Japan, they still probably know of Halo.
Fair. He's a household name. That's a good enough point.
Yeah, household name. But I really don't want to get camped up on Master Chief.
Is it just is it just the play style that he'd come with that you hate, that you would just fret?
It's not even just that. I just don't give a fuck about the character. Like honestly, I'm not a huge shooter guy, but it's probably just me.
Yeah.
But I feel like Master Chief. Not only do I not want to get camped out by Master Chief, but I feel like Master Chief, like although it's a household name.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I just don't feel it's deserved.
Well, I mean, it definitely doesn't have any Nintendo history, so that's a big knock going against it too. As anything,
yeah,
Halo's never been released on Nintendo, right? As far as I'm concerned, like not even fucking
unreleased. As far as I know. Not much Halo has been released on Nintendo. I don't think any
has. I could be wrong,
but it's also not. Yeah, little to no Halo has been on Nintendo. And it's not popular in Japan. So I feel like
going against it. Like literally, the only thing that it's got going for it is that its name value, and that Microsoft is already in as far as negotiations are concerned. So these deals were made way back.
Yeah, with Steve. I feel like Steve is our huge Microsoft character.
True, but what I mean is they're already in negotiations. They've talked. They're in the know. Doesn't mean anything, but you know the companies are working, you know, they're collaborating more, and it's been going on for a while, so that's like the only thing going for him, really. It's another 50-50 thing. It's like all the Western characters.
I mean, no, stop. 0% chance.
Nah, I give it 50-50. It could happen, it might not, but it's like it's E3 or bust.
I say I'll give it a 25% chance.
Fair, fair.
A lot going against him. Very, very little going for him.
I give
But
it to
household name might be popular in America. Might pull in some extra. Might pull in some, it might pull in some extra people into the fan base. Though it would be really alienate the Japanese audience. So I feel like I feel like it's a maybe possibility, but I really don't want him in the game. Exactly. Please mark
Who-
it. Please mark a bill if you're spying on us in this VC. Please force Sakurai not put Master Chief in.
well, we'll find out who.
Please.
We'll find out who it is. Could be the chief. Who wants to go next and talk about the likelihood and what they think about Master Chief being the E3 reveal? Whoever wants to go next, shoot for it. Loaf, Sandy, whoever wants to go ahead now.
So I don't care for the Halo series, but he is a big name. Now you did bring up the good point that he's not that big in Japan. So likelihood is low because of that. However, he would please a lot of the Western audience, and that he has that going for him.
The
Not
Western
the
audience.
frankly, he would just kind of be like another Snake,
Could be.
I think you'd probably just be another Snake with like tweaks here and there. But I I don't want him in the game, but likelihood is there because he's a big name, and Microsoft and Nintendo are in good cahoots right now. So who
But
knows?
we got Steve, and although Steve is more considered Mojang than he is Microsoft, yeah, Microsoft owns Mojang, although Steve may be considered more Mojang than Microsoft. I still think Steve's our Microsoft rep. I pray that Steve's our Microsoft rep. He just also happens to rep Mojang.
Loafs, your opinion on the chief?
Until I remembered Lucifer was a weapon and Devil May Cry 4, Chief was my obvious choice between Microsoft stating at one point that they wanted Chief in, between the little things that have been found where Dark Pit had the arrow, that was...
Needler.
Although Nintendo is notorious for fucking
Let Loaf say his
mechanics in the
piece
game,
here, Heavy.
just for fun.
You've had your turn.
But yeah, it's just been a thing where there's been previous things found that wound up being for said character, but it just felt like it should be a thing. But if Dante's coming, why the hell would you need Chief?
Fair. What would you give him? Do you think it's like a 50-50, less than 50-50?
I'm giving Chief a 15.
A 15%? No, because he went from being possible to just outright unlikely now.
He
Fair.
went from 65 to 15.
That's a big drop.
That's one hell of a drop.
A huge drop.
That's what happened today when I thought, hey, wait, Devil May Cry does have a weapon with delayed activation.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as I said, the main thing that harms the chief is his lack of his series being released on anything Nintendo related, and of course Halo not being all that popular or cared about in Japan, so that alienates that portion of the fan base, which they care very much about. It's a Japanese developed game in Japan itself. I mean, they do care about the rest of the world, but that region is clearly, I believe, takes priority to some degree.
Just for the HQs located.
Yeah, it's like it clearly does, and so yeah, I mean, he could go either way. It's like for a lot of these Western characters, it's E3 or bust. Like if should no Western character happen next week, it's like it's done. Like there won't be any like North American or European created character, I believe, should one not be shown off next week. So next up, it's our I guess it's our last European created character. I mean, character created outside Japan. That's Rayman. I didn't know he was all that talked about, but I guess on the old Twitter and places like that, he's been talked about quite a bit, mainly because of, I guess, like just Ubisoft is kind of in that position with Microsoft, where, I mean, even closer to an extent with Nintendo. They've had like Mario crossover with the Rabbids. They've been releasing and a lot of stuff on the Switch since it's been out. So I mean, relations are pretty good between those two companies, so to speak. And I would think that if Ubisoft were to get a character, wouldn't it be Rayman? Like, I mean, unless you think they're gonna like do Assassin's Creed or something like that, which already has a Mii costume.
It just dance into the game.
You know, which is just like it's the Mii costume already. Again, it's weird that the Ubisoft stuff was already shown off. Like there was the Altair costume and the Rabbids, and they released that a while back. I think was it with Steve or Min? It was very early on in the second pass. I think might have been with Byleth too at the end of the first. Some character that came out last year. The Ubisoft costumes came with them. So that's kind of odd, but you could always do Rayman-inspired Mii costumes where it's just costumes based off of a series should he happen. An issue with Rayman, once again, is like with Master Chief, though, it is localized a little bit more in Japan. He's not like, he doesn't have the crash reception from the Japanese audience, so to speak. But I mean, he would be a very, I think, big character. I think he'd be big enough to do for E3, even if it's maybe not Crash. He's still a legacy character and been around for a while. I'd make it equivalent to like Pac-Man being shown off, even though he didn't really get shown off during a direct at that event. He was like kind of revealed between closed doors, and then they released the trailer right afterward. But Rayman's kind of like in there, where it's like he's a big name. He may not be the biggest name that people expect going into it, but I think he would still get a good reaction. It's just the Ubisoft Nintendo thing is pretty much the only thing he's got going for him. Yes, he is a spirit already. We know that first-party spirits can be upgraded, but is there a chance for a third-party spirit to be upgraded? That's something we haven't really discussed too much yet,
Spirits
right?
do not be confirmed, which means it's because it's first party. I mean, okay, let's say we take Min. Pretty sure she's first party, and she got people playing ARMS for like a day. But it didn't really do much for ARMS in general. So I feel like the fact that it's first party doesn't really have much weight, considering like people played ARMS like for an extra day at most. Because I know I didn't play ARMS. I know no one I knew or me didn't played ARMS for like maybe a day or a week or maybe like even like a day or two after Min was revealed, but afterwards, no one gave a fuck about ARMS anymore. So, and sure he's a spirit, but spirits do not be confirmed. At the very base, that's what we know. So getting too far specific, we don't really have too much confirmation for like more specifics for that. But I feel like they could 3Dize Rayman, or they could keep him 2D. Maybe have another Game & Watch situation where he's flat. But I feel like making Rayman 3D wouldn't be too difficult.
No, I think it'd be too difficult either, and I think they would make him three-dimensional. I think they would take a lot of stuff from like Hoodlum Havoc and some of those early 2000s platformers. Get a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
you could take
but Rayman has a lot of stuff to pull from. He has rich games to pull from. Well, lots of places for making stages. So add extra spirits, like maybe you could have a glow box, maybe the teensies.
He doesn't have the spirit problem that some characters I've mentioned has.
Yeah, and he could even be a DLC character with like many alternate costumes. Because like in Rayman's Definitive Edition, there are so many costumes you can have. You can have fucking Mario costumes. You can have like caveman costumes. Rayman just has a lot of customization that they could use for Smash. But hell, they could still just use 3 colors and still make them references, because there's stuff like Blue Rayman.
Yeah. Anybody else want to give an opinion on Rayman? Oh, but before we go to somebody else, Hebby, what do you think in terms of his likelihood is concerned?
I feel like he's really likely.
Really?
I don't think he's going to be the E3 character specifically.
No.
I don't think he's going to be the
You could save him for the end, and that'd be fine too. He doesn't need to be at E3.
Yeah, I feel like Rayman would be like a good thing to end with a bang.
Yeah, I mean that'd be fine. That'd be definitely good. But I think
there are entire levels in Rayman based on music. So music, easy. You could just rip that shit from the game.
So he would have even for the E3 reveal, he'd have a higher percentage than Dante. Would you give him a higher percent?
E3 reveal? No,
No?
definitely not. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think Rayman's an E3 type character. 11, that'd be ending it off with quite the bang, you know?
Fair.
Like
Fair.
you'd be ending off with like a really good bang. And Rayman, sure he'd have range, but he'd kind of be like a longer range sword character. But I feel like there's a lot you could do with Rayman. A lot of stuff you
there's
can
a
pull
lot
from
you
this
can do
game
with
from his
Rayman
many
too.
skills. He'd have extra movement options. Like he'd have a crawl, because he does that in the games.
As far as
He might even have
moveset,
like the backpack and the crawl thing type thing.
as far
Or
as
maybe
moveset,
he could have a wall jump. Moveset, you could fool that with so much shit.
yeah, there's a lot of moveset potential with him. That's why he's definitely, in terms of the characters I'd like to see be added, I really like Crash too, but I think Rayman has a little more diverse moveset potential.
And I have a lot of nostalgia for Rayman, so I'm very biased. Very biased. Like I have a lot of nostalgia for Rayman.
I have
And I
nostalgia for
fucking
both of
love
them.
that series to death.
I have nostalgia for both of them, and I just think Rayman has a little bit more he can do that makes him a little more unique as opposed to Crash. I don't think Crash would be boring per se, but I just think Rayman's got a little more he could do if you factored in a lot of like his series. Again, I would be a big fan of that.
And even if
But I don't know if it's happening next week. But I'm in all favor of this.
Not E3. I don't think it's E3. I think I think definitely not E3. But for to end it off with a bang, definitely. He'd be a fucking perfect
again.
pick.
He's getting the old 50-50 from me. That's what I'm doing. Splitting halfway.
For me, I give him a good 75.
All these non-Japanese characters. Andy,
although I can see him not getting in the game. I think that's completely reasonable.
I can see it too. Andy, what do you think about
in the game? Like, bro, I think that's not only very, very possible, but very, very fucking hype.
Andy, what do you think about Rayman's possibility showing up next week or just being in the game in general?
See, this is another character that I don't have much experience with. I've never played his games. I've only heard about him in pop culture. Only good things about him that I've heard. So, lots of popularity. I don't know him, but maybe he could be fun. I hear a lot of hype about him. It'd be nice to see. As for whether he could be in E3 or not, I'm not sure because I'm not sure about his popularity in Japan.
That's iffy.
Again,
that's iffy. It's iffy.
So yeah, like you got stuff like that, and I don't know, like what company even made him? Like
Ubisoft.
Mm-hmm.
The people do the
okay.
Rabbids.
Yeah, and Ubisoft and Nintendo have great relations.
Yeah.
I guess Ubisoft does have like a good
one thing
history
Rayman's
with
got
Nintendo.
going for him is that the relations between those companies are very strong right now. So that's what he's got going for him.
Yeah, I guess that helps his likeliness. But is he E3 material? Probably not. No. Maybe.
I think he would count. I think he's
maybe final character, but I don't know.
Loafs, do you have an opinion on the Limbless Wonder over here?
I don't know. How do you feel about Rabbids being one of the weirdest games on Wii U?
No, we do not talk about the Rabbids. No.
I don't care about that. The problem is they have a huge history on the system itself from Wii through Wii U. So it's not crazy to think of him as a possible character.
Well, they got the Mii. Didn't they get the Mii costume already?
Yeah,
they just got the Mii costume.
So,
which just lowers the chance of using them as another.
Which means, are you saying like are you saying like if it's no Rabbids, Ubisoft doesn't get a challenger pack? Is that kind of what you're?
If it wasn't, if Rabbids weren't in, I'd be super excited for it because then, oh boy, I've never played Rayman, but there's a good chance that he's getting in. One or two of Rayman's skins would probably just be a rabbit. It'd fit, but no rabbit. I already have rabbits in.
So fuck about the rabbits. Fuck the rabbits.
Yeah, well, they're part of the series, and
hey, they had a crossover with Mario already, so
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't even.
A cash grab, a very bad cash grab of that.
Any final opinions on Rayman, or just like another one where it's like that's just unlikely?
I don't think he's unlikely.
Oh.
I don't know if he's gonna make it.
That is a fair enough point.
just a big gray area on him.
Do you, compared to like Chief and Crash and the other non-Japanese characters we talked about, where does he rank among them?
Dante is going above everybody. Maybe Master Chief. I feel like Crash has a better chance than Master Chief.
And Rayman would be underneath both of them? In your opinion?
Rayman feels like he'd be right around where Crash is, if not just a little lower.
Okay, so he'd be between Crash and Chief if we were to really scale it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with this.
That sounds about right. I don't know.
Chief just doesn't have a chance over an actual, character with history.
Well, now we're moving on. I can't even believe this character's name is on the list, but they actually have Sora listed down here, and I can't even believe that many people are still posting about him at this point after Sephiroth. That's baffling to me. Anyway, that's a 0. That gets my 0% chance right here. I don't even need to go into it at all. I don't even need to really talk about it. I can't even believe that the Kingdom Hearts fans are still thinking it could happen. Like, just let it go, Just let it go. So I can't even believe he's being talked about again because it's E3 time. Brutal. Unbelievable. I have no idea how. That's it. Like, it's 0. That's one thing. I give the Chief 50%. I give a fucking Crash 50%. Fuck, I even give Rayman 50%. All characters that I would like to see and that are, pretty big. And Dante probably gets I give him probably a 60 to 65% now with everything that's gone on. I would say definitely of the characters we've talked about, he probably has the highest chance. Definitely for Capcom, right? Sora, maybe even under 0. Maybe we give him like negative, like fucking $1,000,000% chance, where it's like in the negatives.
3,000.
In the negatives, man. I can't even believe they're talking about him still, where there's enough data to compile where he's at the bottom of the top 10 going into E3. He's in the top 10 characters talked about right now. I can't even believe it. After Sephiroth.
Yeah, people are still clinging on to the idea that Disney, will feed them for a little bit. Like all those starving Kingdom Hearts Smash fans.
Oh, yeah.
They're just like, please, Disney, please
just
give
ridiculous.
me Sora.
I can't even believe he's talked about.
The idea of Mickey, Donald, or Goofy in a final Smash? No.
Dude.
Disney wants nothing to do with fighting games.
Dude, they'd probably give him, like, if he did get in, he'd get, like, a drive form or something, or, like, something that has, like, no Disney, like, just an attack or something, Like...
Yeah, but Sora's owned by Disney.
I know he's owned by them, and that immediately makes it not happening.
Nothing to do with just straight up murder.
Like, I talked about Activision being something to negotiate with, but the mouse is a whole nother story, baby. It's a whole nother story. Anyway, it gets a 0% from me, and a negative $1,000,000% chance if you want to go even deeper. Not happening. Absolutely not happening. You should have given up after Sephiroth and cashed your chips in and just moved on to the next character like I did. At least move on to somebody who's, like... possible, like, Dante and a couple of those 90s platformers. Sora, not possible. Definitely not happening. Heavy, I'm sure you agree with me. I don't probably need to get your full opinion on that, right?
I'm just gonna say this. Okay, not only is Disney owned by Square, not Disney owned by Square. No, not only would there be problems with, like, Square. Like, let's say Square did let Sora get in. Alright. Let's say Nintendo CEO sucked it off the Square CEO that much. Hell no, is Disney not in any way going to let that happen with a character they own? Just trying to directly linking them to violence.
It ain't happening.
People with the Walt Disney logo making 666s out of them. To have them in a fighting game, inconceivable.
Exactly.
Impossible.
Exactly.
Fucking improbable.
Definitely the lowest percent you'll give tonight, right? Definitely the lowest percent of the top 10 we'll give is Sora right here, right?
Get a percent. He doesn't get a percent. That's how unlikely he is. He's not even a percentage worthy.
I know. It's definitely not.
He's not even a candidate.
That's why I went into the negatives. It's like, that's how impossible this shit is. Like, you're not even in the positives anymore. You're not even at 0. It's underneath. Loafs, what do you
especially because we got Sephiroth.
Loafs, what do you think? Do you agree with us here? Do you think it's kind of ridiculous that they're still talking about him after Sephiroth? Why do you think he's even being talked about at all to be in the top 10 for fucking social active characters people hope for at E3. I don't know. I gave up.
Okay.
Yeah, speak your piece.
I don't blame people one bit.
I don't blame them
You
either.
would have to not have Donald, not have Goofy, not have Mickey. His stage would be like Destiny Island. You'd have a couple of arbitrary tracks, maybe like Hollow Bastion, because you can't put anything from actual Disney in there. You have to just have these remixed, very not really representative of him tracks. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I get you.
It's a Disney branded game. Why would Disney, a company who's just rolling around, need representation in this?
I don't think they need it. It's just their fans of that branded series want it. They don't need it.
If there were money to be talked about, sure. What are they getting out of it?
Yeah.
It's Disney.
It's Disney. That's it. Like, that's all anybody has to say. Like, I get why people would want it. Like, this is like big, like, childhood character for me too. It's one of my favorite action RPG series of all time. Definitely, Kingdom Hearts is right up there. It's I've got the PC ports of 1.5 and 2.5 on Epic when they went and got released on the PC. I got those.
No.
But I just know it's not happening, and it's like I get why people just hope and they want and they're fans of the series, but it's alright.
Now, in their defense, spoiler warning, yada yada. You know, it seems like they're trying to end out the entire, storyline with Sora, and if they do continue making the game, move it along. So it wouldn't be crazy for them to go, Sora's gone from the world, he's out looking for Kairi. Hey, he's traveling through the fucking, we'll just call it the Shadow Realm or Brazil for whoever wants to, and say that, he finds his way into Smash. That wouldn't be crazy. I wouldn't put it against them to try it.
Impossible.
It'd be a cool ass trailer in my dreams.
Yeah, I know it's impossible from the business
but
standpoint.
The idea of the trailer is actually pretty dope. I'll say that. Like, for me to dream about that going into E3 next week is great. Like, that trailer in my dreams, sweet. But I just know it ain't happening. Yeah. But it's cool to theoretically think about.
If you took Disney out of it and it was just Square and you had the ending of the game like that and there wasn't Disney's, fucking Palpatine level influence over it.
Ironic.
Yes, it wouldn't be impossible. It'd actually be very feasible at this point. He has a long history, a huge fan base. He's one of those characters that, while not Mario level recognizable, has a huge impact. But Disney.
But Disney. That's it. Hashtag but Disney.
It's just Disney. And if for some godforsaken reason he does make it in, I'll eat an entire cardboard box. Fuck it.
I want to watch that. I want Sora to get in right now just so I can watch that.
Okay, that was at the 1 hour 36 minute mark, so a little over an hour and a half in. But yeah, I think I'll eat a cardboard box too, man. Like, I'm that fucking confident it ain't happening. Clip that shit, if you listen to this shit, clip it.
I'll eat a knife.
I'd be that excited that I wouldn't mind eating the cardboard box.
You would just do it in the excitement. You'll have the box right beside you in case it happens. The fucking trailer gets going. You rip that shit off in excitement. You take the bite out of it, all that good shit. Fucking in the hype of the trailer.
Like Kingdom Hearts 2 with the fucking golden lettering just shining on the screen, and I'll already be taking bites because the moment that text comes up, it's immediately recognizable.
Yeah, it's a done deal, right? So,
God, I'd sooner expect a giant mech from Armored Core that takes up half of the stage to get in, or Leisure Suit Larry. Even he has a better chance over Sora.
Oh, there we go. Andy, do you have any opinion on the Disney wonder here? You think it's as unlikely as the rest of us think? What are your opinions on Sora here?
Yeah, Sora's not happening. To all you to all you fans who are big fans of Kingdom Hearts, take what you got. You already got Sora in Super Smash Flash 2. You have Sora fan-made characters in Rivals of Ether. Take that, run with it, all right? Because that's all you're getting. You can't. I'm not even sure why this is something that's being hoped for, because like it comes to a point where this this is this is insanity. It's like there's no way it's happening, and like, why are you still even entertaining the idea just to get disappointed over and
all
over again?
hope, no signs.
Exactly. Like,
all hope, no nothing else. Like, it's just all hope. And again, hope is good in life, people. Like, it's good to hope for things. Like, it keeps the human spirit up. It keeps it going. All that kind of good stuff. Like, it's good to have hope. But just don't have hope for Sora and Smash. Like, have hope in other things. It's good to have hope, but just not the complete impossible, right? It's like,
just don't have hope about Disney giving out anything that they own.
There you go. Pretty much that. So unanimous negative % to 0. Everybody giving him an absolutely not happening chance. Not surprised there. I knew that going in. I couldn't even believe they were in
Disney's
the top 10
chastity
still.
vote.
Couldn't even believe it.
Disney's chastity vote is just getting in the way.
Just getting in the way. And now we're going to save number 10 for last, and Heavy's going to have a lot of an opinion about this one, so I look forward to this discussion. Number 10 is none other than the Wham Man himself, Waluigi.
No! No! You shut up right now! No!
Oh my god.
If you thought he hated Master Chief... Master Chief, in Heavy's opinions, got nothing on Waluigi. Nothing.
But I'd rather Master Chief than Waluigi.
Listen to that. So he hates the idea of Master Chief in Smash, but would welcome it over Waluigi. Wow.
And Master Chief won over Waluigi, bro, I'd be dancing.
Dude, if the double reveal is Waluigi and the Chief, man, I mean, I think you're going to quit Smash for good.
No, I'm calling it hit on Sakura if that happens.
It's not going to happen. But anyway, the idea of Waluigi, I think, is totally, it's entirely possible, right? To be the only assist trophy upgrade of the DLC. The only one.
It is possible.
I don't think so.
Impossible.
As these months go by, I think it's more. I think it could happen, man. I give it.
If he hasn't gotten
Of this
yet,
top
let me
10
take
list,
now.
of this top 10 list, due to the fact that he's in-house first party, he's a character they can take from. All they have to do is do an upgrade trailer. The fans go crazy for it, and they don't even have to outsource to a third party. And you could get away revealing him right at the end, like you did like Ridley or K. Rool in the base game direct, so we get a big reaction. I'm not saying it will happen, but compared to some third parties, on being Nintendo owned, that's got to give him an edge, right?
Fucking memes. Waluigi is.
I say it's more than a meme.
Any relevancy because of memers and 3-year-olds.
It's more than the memes, Andy.
Waluigi not in Smash yet. Memes didn't happen.
I'm gonna be the prick and give him a 70% going into next week.
No, shut your ugly ass up right now, Braester. Shut up.
I give him an edge over Dante, mainly because he's a first-party character that they don't even have to outsource
Shut
for.
your dirty whore mouth. Shut your whorish mouth right now. No, not happening.
It's time to rectify. It's time to rectify some Waluigi all these years later. It's time to get the Wall elegy fully elevate above it. Waluigi breaks through is like the splash screen.
No.
Andy, I know you're on my side for this. What do you think about Waluigi being a potential reveal next week? What do you think?
Heavy, your hatred towards Waluigi is gonna be one of the many reasons I mute you again after this call. But so what we got here is we have the god himself, Waluigi. I would love for him to be in Smash. E3, no, he's first party. Introduce a third party. That's where you're gonna make your money. But fucking everyone's gonna love when Waluigi is finally added to Smash. You know, he's the last of the the 4 Mario
He's
characters
the only
that
like secondary Mario character who has any fan base that's not in. He's like the only one.
Exactly. Like,
So,
like, I just want Waluigi in. He's already in the game as an assist trophy. They could upgrade him, and he's just like such a big face for Nintendo as well. Like, give him some love. I think his likelihood of getting in is not too bad. And all Waluigi haters, fuck you, honestly. Thank you. That's
so
my
I guess it
statement.
goes out
Fuck
to
you
Heavy too.
I have a question.
Yeah,
I have a question for you,
absolutely.
Eddie.
10
I have
times
a question. I have a huge fucking question for you.
So,
What game does Waluigi have? What Waluigi game is there?
every Mario Party, every Mario sports title.
No,
Every-
Mario Party, not Waluigi Party. Is it called Waluigi Party? No, it's called Mario Party. Now, what game is the star? Is Waluigi?
Okay,
Where is
here,
focus Waluigi ever?
riddle me this, Batman. What game does Peach have? What game does Daisy have?
It's Peach. Peach
What
is
game?
every Mario game.
Oh, whoa. Rosalina and Luma have one
Okay.
Mario game and they're in. Congratulations. You're just mad.
2. And also Galaxy and Galaxy 2 are loved by basically
Oh. Yeah, every player loves Mario Party. If you don't, you're fucking insane. He's in Mario Kart, he's in Mario Party. He's had a long time coming. You're just a fucking hater. That's it.
What's like? Want me to tell you the origins of Waluigi, so that Wario could have a tennis partner. That's his only reason for existence. He's literally just there as a plot device.
And people love him. People love him.
People love him.
No, they don't. They like memes about him. They do not like the character. There is no character to be liked.
Wouldn't me and Andy be like enough to like change your opinion on it though? Like, look how lovingly we're talking about this purple bastard, and you're just not buying it. But
No.
it's genuine
No,
love.
Not happening.
It's genuine
It's
love,
not.
man.
No, it's not.
I don't like
He's-
Waluigi.
he's-
They don't
I
interest
was
me.
thinking
I
of-
love
I-
character.
I would have wanted Bandana D to represent Kirby again, but in
There's
days, but no, Waluigi's my my number one most wanted first party. Number one, baby. I hope for it. Loafs.
Yeah.
Loafs. What do you think of Wall Elegy here? Speak your piece about this fucking purple bastard.
Scene cuts in.
What's the-
Me, dressed in Waluigi attire, lifts up the trophy. The Waluigi assist trophy comes out, runs forward,
I'm killing all of you.
stomps.
I'm calling a hitman on all of you.
Keep going. So he lifts up the assist trophy, comes out.
Yeah. The Waluigi assist trophy lands to the floor, runs forward, stomps a Mario, kicks a Luigi, smacks a Wario. Why not? Before stepping right in front of actual Waluigi.
Oh.
Just that as an
Ooh.
opening scene would be enough.
It
Ooh.
really would be.
Oh,
would be.
I love it.
I do too.
Just a
Hope they
simple.
pull Diddy.
He knocks out his own
Hope they
assist
pull
trophy. He knocks it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just something simple like that.
Dude, that
That'd be your
works. That
startup.
works, man. That works.
Then you do some memes, a little funny here and there. I really see him as the Byleth of this pass.
Like, he's the last one, but since he's Waluigi, like, people actually like it, and it doesn't get Byleth hate type,
it's a huge
situation.
enough hype. It's a huge enough hype to end the game out on. It's a long requested character. Why put in the extra slot if you're not going to use it for something huge like that? People have been screaming about him for ages, and unlike Sora, which was a pain in the ass to get,
He's right there,
He's
in-house. First party, they own him.
they put him down as the last character. Anybody who doesn't like him goes, well, I have all these other characters from all these other drops. And everybody who's been waiting for fucking years and years goes, well, I wasn't thinking about getting Fighters Pass 2, but they finally added them. It's no Geno, but it's good enough.
Yeah, but you don't see it at E3. You did not E3.
I wouldn't be surprised if the start of the direct was their Smash trailer, and then near the very end they're like, "All right, and that's all." Well, actually, and then drop it at the end.
Oh, so you think should a double reveal happen that there's a big chance that there's some WoW?
If it's a double reveal,
Definitely.
If it's not,
Yes.
expect them to come. Expect the last reveal somewhere around
September or October.
September.
Or
Yeah.
October.
September, maybe starting into
Yeah.
October, and then you could have more of a costume parties type of setup to, play on Halloween or Christmas. Hey, Waluigi for Christmas.
Oh no!
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Oh
there's
fuck
just-
yes.
And hope they pull a fucking DDD and make it a Waluigi shaped figure, but it's a fucking rock. And then they reveal fuck who knows? They reveal Me Fighter Part 2, one with the mustache this time.
I mean, if you're going for that, they did that with Banjo. Duck Hunt pretending to be Banjo, and then Banjo slams it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, him knocking out his
Oh,
trophy,
it's
man, is
Waluigi.
just
It's
just
not
perfect.
Waluigi. And then Waluigi doesn't get in.
Well, we'll see.
I want it to be like a reverse Banjo.
But I am gonna put my, I don't know, because you're always wrong anyway. These are all predicted and expected characters, so obviously who they
Right.
reveal is nobody we talked about here. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can guarantee. But of these, I got to go with the Wah Man of the 10. That's my prediction going into it. Like if I had to choose from these 10, again, because he's first party. I mean, if I have to go with third party, I think we're all in unanimous agreement on Dante, right?
Yeah,
Like
the one poster said
Yeah.
Dante and the guy from Red Dead, and he was the same one who predicted Sephiroth and Pyra and Mithra's release date.
Lady
I'm not
Dimitrescu.
seeing-
I'd rather have that.
I'm not seeing Red Dead Redemption at all, but Dante, yeah, that feels really likely at this point.
Yeah, it really
Yeah, I see
does.
Dante.
Because he's just that third party who's A, Japanese created, but B, is just his series is big enough around the globe and is pretty much wanted in all three regions, in North America, Europe, and of course in Japan itself. So I would
Not
say,
to mention,
Mhm.
if they can get DMC5 and make it work on the Switch, they can drop 4 and 5 since they've already dropped 1 through 3.
right. So
True.
that's pretty much. Anybody else wanna? We're all pretty much unanimously agreeing on Dante, though, as we finish this. Watch. I mean, really, people, it's gonna be somebody who we didn't talk about, and we're gonna be like, "Oh, that character made
Yeah.
sense," but we fucking didn't predict it because
it's
you
gonna
know
be
that's how it's
brutal.
always been. I'm not saying that it will be Dante.
We're just talking about what's already talked about
Yeah,
characters.
if we had to
We're
go
talking about
with-
our own special characters.
Yeah, like of those, like
Yeah.
I can't predict it anymore,
Quick
people.
picks.
I refuse to predict it fully.
I remember that one time Braester got disproved in like a month.
Dude, and they hated that video. I got so many dislikes after that, and it was fucking great. When I said Steve would never happen, and like a month and a half later, he does. Classic, just the best, just the absolute best. I was glad to be proven wrong too. I'm like, I'm glad that those motherfuckers proved me wrong. Like, I'm glad they put him in the game. I'm glad because I was so wrong about that. I was like, okay, he's so blocky. Like, how's he gonna make that work in the crafting? Maybe it's just gonna be too much. And then it was almost too much, but fucking Sakurai did it anyway and reprogrammed every goddamn stage to accommodate that character.
Basically
But
what they did, basically, Nintendo just put a gun to Sakurai's head and said, "Make the character now, bitch."
I know, bitch.
So, but it'd be too much.
So along the
Gosh,
bingo
dang.
card for E3 for Nintendo is also there's a lot of news going around about the Switch Pro. I'm sure most of you have heard about this by now, right? So
Yes.
a lot of people were saying, "Oh, they're gonna show off that new console first week of June or last week of May." I'm like, why would they just show that new piece of hardware
do that.
off when they have a E3
Why?
presentation announced a week later or 2 weeks later? Like, they're not gonna show this off and then like do all the software. I think they're gonna I think there's enough evidence to say that it's coming, that there is probably going to be an updated version of the Switch that gets shown off. But I think it's safe to say that it gets shown off during this E3 Direct, right? I'm not crazy enough to think that, right?
Yeah.
You know, so I think there's a
It's
big...
only logical.
Go ahead.
Switch Pro.
It's only logical to show it at E3. Like, if you don't show it at E3, what are you doing?
Like, why would you just show it off, like, 2 weeks before you're going to show all your software and shit? Like, at least show off this new console. Be like, oh, all the software we're showing off can be played on your old Switch, but hey, fuck, it can be played on this fucking newer, better fucking hardware version of it. Well, we'll see. I mean, it's all rumor right now, but there's like a lot of like the stock websites are having it in inventories, and there's stuff going on that's pointing in the direction that they are going to show off a more capable hardware version of the Switch. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But that's a big talking point going into next week's presentation. Do you think are we all in a unanimous thing that could be very much something that does get shown off? We're pretty confident in that. That the Switch Pro, so to speak, or I mean, that's just the default name. It could be called anything. I don't know what they are going to call it.
Plus.
Switch Plus. Who knows what they could call
Switch
it? But,
Act 2.
Wait,
but what's that? What's up, Los?
that's becoming more and more of a confirmed thing.
It seems to be. It's like the talk.
Yeah.
And like as of the last week, they thought that Nintendo was going to pull a fast one and just kind of show it off like 2 weeks before their E3 presentation, which I didn't believe, and it didn't happen. But there's
that would line up way too well with Dante then, because one of the main reasons they haven't ported over the game
is why
is
because it's not
of
good enough to
how-
handle it.
It barely handled 3 when they dropped it. Like, there's still frame rate loss and stuff, and one of the talks on forums have been, well, if they brought it over 5, they'd have to reduce textures and lower FPS to maybe 30.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're going to be releasing a stronger system, why not bring out Dante? Why not bring out the definitive edition that comes with Virgil? Why not bring it out on this newer system that can handle it?
And it
And
could
then
all be
drop
lining
them in
up.
Smash.
Could be all lining up. It could be a big fucking day for Devil May Cry if the stars align.
Then
So-
again,
Because I think
Crash came out with a brand new game and would have lined up perfectly with the reveal, and we got fucking Pyra and Mithra. Pokemon
Yeah,
would have lined
but-
up for a
well, that was just
Pokemon.
go on, keep going.
Hear me out. Pokemon also had a free-to-play Pokken weekend, and was releasing the Crown Tundra. Could have made Urshifu for Pokken, the last DLC, right around that free weekend when they were trying to draw people back into it. Could have had a rep for the Crown Tundra, and who did they release? It was either Terry, Banjo, or Byleth. I can't remember which one. So,
I don't think
Yes.
Crown Tundra was around that time.
it was whatever the other one is. I don't know, in Sword and Shield.
It would have been around Byleth.
I'm
wouldn't
pretty
it?
sure. Well,
Yeah.
I Love Armor would have been like closer to Violet.
Yeah, it would have been closer to
Yeah.
Byleth. So yeah, they're
But
basically
Crown
just
Tundra is like definitely within like minion territory.
they're just saying like the hardware is going to be better, I guess graphics card or whatever is going to be in it. Apparently it's just going to be more heavy duty, so to speak, than in comparison to the current Switch. So I don't know how much of an upgrade it's actually going to be, but they're saying like hardware wise, it's going to be a step up, so to speak. Who knows how much of a step up, but that's kind of the word going around.
If we do get a Switch Pro, it's definitely going to be revealed at E3. It's going to give it the most publicity.
I think so. I couldn't even
Like, just
believe
that
it.
of sheer publicity. Like if you want just like sheer power. Like let's say a lot. I knew a few people that didn't want to get the Switch because it was lesser hardware.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just 4K Ultra HD. It wasn't that 8K remaster. But if they do release a far more powerful version of the Switch, they're definitely releasing it at E3. So not only is it now appealing to people who want more power, just in their console, but also now it gets the most publicity. Now no one will escape hearing about the Switch Pro. No person with any interest in games at all is going to miss it. But as soon as it gets released at E3, game journalists are just going to start typing away.
Another big
The
thing.
articles about it just all over.
Yeah, I mean the articles are springing up everywhere. Like everybody's talking about it, and as I said, there was thought that they were going to do it like last week and show it off before the E3 stuff. And I was like,
why did they
that's
do it
probably not
last
gonna-
week?
Yeah, I don't know why people thought that was going to be a thing. Some people just don't critically think. I guess
That was a
sometimes,
dumb idea.
Some people just,
Who-
I guess
who
they just,
thought
oh,
that-
Nintendo's
who
going to pull
thought
a
that was
fast one.
stupid?
It's like just bundle it with everything else, It just
Why
makes
not
sense.
bundle it? With the largest game presentation, known
of the
to
year. We had to skip it last year because of the pandemic. Now we're doing the digital version, and all the fucking publishers are coming back for it. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them. Nintendo themselves being, making an announcement for it. Like, they announced this direct 2 weeks before it was supposed to happen. So I think there's a decent amount of shit that's going to be shown off in that 40 minutes. I mean, when was the last time you remember them announcing a direct with like 2 weeks notice? I can't remember one where it's like it's been 2 weeks before they were ready to do it. They're giving it plenty of time for people to get ready for it. Like 2 weeks is
Right.
a huge amount of time to be announcing it before it happens. So, I mean, expect some big stuff. Another thing that's being talked about quite a bit is the idea that a new Donkey Kong Country might be in the works and shown off at this event. There's some stuff that's being reported. It's basically like the hearsay. Like, I mean, well, the Switch Pro's got some stuff lining up for it in terms of inventory websites and all that, adding code and stuff for the seemingly new version of the Switch. But insiders are basically sharing the story that they've heard rumblings about Donkey Kong perhaps having a presence at this E3 in terms of a new title. I guess the last one is Tropical Freeze still the last Donkey Kong Country? I know they had it on Wii U, but then they ported it to the Switch. It was originally a Wii U game. I think that's still the last one, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Don't you remember when they sold Diddy for a Switch?
Oh yeah. There's there's a new. Oh, I know why. What's adding to it is Nintendo themselves recently revealed a somewhat new render of Diddy Kong that hadn't really been seen before, so that added more speculation to this new Donkey Kong Country game. Fire, there's just a new render.
I feel like if they're going to talk about a new Donkey Kong game, I definitely do not think they're going to do it at E3. I don't think it's E3 would they?
You don't think it's? Well, it's been around for a long time.
I mean, yeah, but I feel like that's more of a thing to release like after E3. I don't think that's like E3 territory.
That's the last ass end of the year September Direct announcement rather than the biggest gaming convention of the year sort of deals.
Yes.
That kind of I feel you there.
It's for the same reason that they wouldn't announce a game at E3.
Andy, what do you think?
I love Donkey Kong. I would love to see it at E3, and Donkey Kong's bigger than you think. I could definitely see it at E3.
It's potential. Like if there's a lot done with it, and there's a lot to show off. If there's a lot to show off, maybe. I mean, it's possible, right? So.
I mean, Mario and Donkey Kong came out together.
Way back when. Hey, Loves, do you think there's potential to see a new Donkey Kong Country entry in the series, or do you think it's going to stay dormant for a while longer? What do you think?
We've had a year of Shadow Directs. We've had a year of really underwhelming releases.
Mm-hmm.
We have a 2 weeks notice on this Direct.
Yes.
We have
I think that's significant.
the possibility of a new system. We have the possibility of course, a double drop for Smash. Other game companies have been shitting the fucking bed when it comes to games. They drop a new console and they're the games. If Nintendo wanted to fucking do something, this would be the Direct to fucking steal people's money away.
It should
Donkey Kong, whatever they can get out and shown. Hell, they might even put out the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer at this point.
Which, that's a perfect segue into it. I think that's happening. 100% I think it's happening. I think we're going to get, I don't know how much gameplay is going to be shown off, but definitely a few cutscenes, maybe a bit of gameplay, very brief little flashes of it. But then we're going to get hit with the big, to be determined 2022.
Yeah, even
really
if they have a couple of
right?
developers sit around and, talk about what they're planning for the game, what's going on with its development, just anything like that, have Donkey Kong, just keep throwing things out there, they'll have people buying Switch Pros like it's nobody's business.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what could be shown off. I mean, the last thing we seen was just, like, them, like, Zelda and Link lighting the torches and kind of walking around, and that was all we seen for it, so it'll be 2 years since that was shown off. So
I think it's important to mention this here, but Nintendo said it's going to be like a treehouse. Usually at treehouses, they show like a little bit of the games off.
Yeah, the
which
treehouse.
Means I think that if anything, so I say like treehouse means like games are like they're like already like pretty decent into development, which is why I say they might show off Breath of the Wild 2. They might show off a Donkey Kong Country game, but I wouldn't put my money on it.
You don't even think Zelda gets a trailer?
So I do think.
I think that's inevitable. I think he gets a trailer.
They definitely get a trailer. Like, well, I am not Braester. You think I'm retarded?
No, 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 I don't. I was a little. Yeah, I thought you might say they were going to omit it, you know. But I was like, okay, no,
No.
it's good.
The most
No.
I'm
I don't think
get it
I
is the
don't think
trailer.
that's getting Treehouse Live. I think it's just getting a trailer. I don't. Of what could get a Treehouse Live is potentially Donkey Kong Country if it's in fact a game that is done and that they're going to show the whole kit and caboodle for. Let's not forget that they just kind of threw that Paper Mario title right the fuck out of nowhere last year, and the fucking thing was finished, and they revealed it, and then like a month later it dropped. It was crazy. It was like,
Good old Shadow Direct.
you know, it was like just a big old shadow drop, right?
Humiliation.
So there's the potential that there could be a game that is close to being done that they could show off in that Treehouse Live after they reveal it at the actual direct, and you get the whole kit and caboodle
Surprise,
for it.
Splatoon 3.
Well, let's talk about that. Do you think
Surprise,
that you think that's at least far into development? We've
No.
seen the brief teaser for it at the end of
Considering the fact that it's estimated in 2022, vague 2022, not like summer of 2022, not winter of 2022, not early 2022, not late 2022, but 2022 itself.
mid 2022 probably, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say either mid 22 or maybe around Christmas to steal people's
yeah, I'm
money.
kind of iffy on Splatoon 3. So they showed a teaser. So if that's all they got, they showed it in February. So do you think that they just like don't update that title there?
The game done.
What's that?
I feel like they might give news on it, but like, okay,
Yeah.
so what they've shown, they've already shown a hub world, they've shown character, they've shown most but not all of the character selection options. There's probably going to be more in the final release, but they already have animated cutscenes. They already added they already have weapon designs in mind. They already have maps. I feel like Splatoon 3. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be at the treehouse like at all. Though I do
No,
think
I don't
it's not
either.
too far off.
I just wonder if they're gonna do any like brief update on it or something, because that teaser trailer.
I think it's possible that they get it. I think it's possible because Splatoon is one of their really big IPs.
A game
I think
that's
it's
been
definitely possible we get some update on Splatoon 3.
Another-
But I wouldn't say
wouldn't count on it.
I wouldn't put any eggs in my basket for
Wouldn't
it.
be surprised if it was omitted just because the teaser was all they think the fans need for a while before they get some shit done with it. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, if they did admit it, like I wouldn't be surprised. Like we got that teaser, we got our jerk off, you know.
Yeah, at least you know it's coming. All right, so that's at least a good thing. A game that's been announced, but really we know nothing about it is Metroid Prime 4, and I mean,
Are you gonna say with the what?
well that too, but I mean, I think even less has been shown for Prime 4. Am I right? Like I don't think anything has really been shown off for that game.
Prime
Just know
4
it's
isn't
coming.
real. It's a scam.
It might I might believe that. I might believe that it's just a concept or an idea.
A thing that exists.
I don't.
Prime 4 doesn't exist. It's just a farce by Nintendo.
I'm kind of feeling the same way about it.
Samus.
I'm kind of feeling the same
Make
way
that
about
Metroid
it.
doesn't completely die.
So, I mean, it's apparently they plan on doing it. We've seen nothing of it. I think they announced they wanted to do it like 3 years ago. We've seen nothing in terms of progress for
They've
it.
been talking about Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
They've been talking about Prime 4 for as long as I've been a fucking live.
I know, it's like I don't know
Probably
if it's
even
coming.
longer.
Elofs, what do you think? Prime 4 never happening? Is it kind of like the Half-Life sequel? Is it kind of like in that territory now? Because it seems like it's just.
Let's be real. If they're coming out with a new console with higher graphics and stuff, if it's not pushed out following that announcement, don't expect it at all.
Okay, so you're like, should nothing be shown in with the heavy duty Switch, and it's not with it, you're like, the fucking thing doesn't exist, right? Like that's.
Yeah, like if they've been quietly doing it in development, they go, "Hey, we're putting out a Switch with higher graphical power. Hey, this is the main reason we couldn't get Metroid Prime 4, Half-Life 3 out." Then there's your answer.
Yeah.
If you don't see it this direct, you're not fucking seeing.
And here's the big kind of thing that I'm going to kind of transition into is the idea of a new IP of sorts. Which, I mean, Splatoon was that many years ago now. Is there the possibility they show off some sort of new IP that's just debuting that could be paired with the Switch Pro? Like, obviously, we can't really spitball any ideas because who knows what that could fucking be. But is the potential of a new IP possible, or do you think we just kind of stick with all what's selling now and keep doing the sequels and the DLC and that sort of stuff? Is there a chance for a new IP?
In my
Give it a
opinion,
year or two.
oh hail to the no, but I feel like it's a very slim chance. But I feel
think so,
like
too.
at E3, it's a very slim chance. But I think if they do release a new IP, why would they do it at E3?
Why would they do it there?
Yeah, why would they do it at E3?
Well, why not do it there?
Like some shit that no one ever heard of. E3's
It's
for like
got a
big
big
shit.
audience.
They're just random IP that they're just going to. Would you release a? Would you show off a Mega Man game at E3?
Well, I mean, I don't know when Pikmin was revealed. That might. I'm trying to remember when they announced that, and that was brand new.
It was
for
not
its time.
E3.
It might not have been, but I don't know.
Yeah, it was not
maybe
E3.
it's not the place to do it, but I mean, it would be nice to see one. At
I
some
don't.
point.
I feel like E3 is where you focus more on like
I establish
huge,
shit.
maybe already
Yeah,
existing
establish
things.
shit.
Yeah, like it's like we establish things, like things that like are already in the public eye. Give them some more attention, not new shit.
Loafs, you
I feel
mentioned
like having a new.
you mentioned a
at
time
E3
frame
is
of
the
a year.
worst possible thing to do.
You mentioned a time frame of a year or two from now. Did you want to kind of add a little more to the idea of a new Nintendo IP for the Switch?
If they're gonna put out a new IP, if they want to show it at E3, it has to be from established developers. You can't just throw out something from a third party, like half of the shit they throw out in these directs now that are like, "Hey, play WWE 2K Wrestling."
Oh god, that shit.
Like,
yeah.
If
Oh,
you're gonna
God.
push out a new IP for this direct, it's got to be from a group that has a long history,
Mm-hmm.
has the credibility to make a great game, and that will catch the people's attention. So give it a year or two, considering we're just coming off pandemic.
That's fair. That is a good point. Andy, would you like to see something maybe new that's Nintendo owned come about, and you think there's a possibility for it in a week, or do you kind of or agree with Lopes that it might be years out at this point?
I do agree that it might be a while before
Mhm.
we see something fresh, but it would also be kind of cool, and it's not a bad idea, to gain traction at E3, for a new IP, because that's where all eyes are gonna be, and if you have, again, as Loaf had mentioned, if you had well-established like game development teams that like already have made amazing games and they're making this new IP, then that might interest some people. But I don't foresee it due to like COVID and
Mm-hmm.
there's already like so much that's already kind of anticipated to be there. So I do agree it might be a while before we see something new, but it's not a bad idea to put something new in E3 if there's already something new being made.
And aside from maybe some Smash crossover in terms of third party, which third party company do you think might have the biggest presence with the biggest game at Nintendo's Direct? I know it's a lot about their first party stuff, but do any of you think that there might be a third party company that has a decent title of some sort that might be a Switch exclusive that might get any shine next week? Say like I guess No More Heroes 3 is still looming around. I don't know if that's super big, but it's a third party. It's been Travis versus Aliens, and that's coming out, and I guess also Atlas has got Shin Megami Tensei 5 on the horizon that could be shown off. I mean, Atlas has worked with Nintendo before and have released Shin Megami Tensei on that console in the past as well. Is there any third parties that you think might be shown off there? I would say Atlas is probably the big one for me for Shin Megami Tensei 5, but I would like to hear what the rest of you had to say. Loves, you want to start? If you got any third parties in mind and their titles that could be shown off of any significance?
Surprisingly, no, I got nothing.
No, nothing. I think it's perhaps entirely first party here. You think it's going to be a heavy emphasis?
Up with it.
Yeah, it's all good. Hebby, do you have any in mind? Maybe some Bayo 3 or...
As much as I want Bayo 3, I don't think it's happening.
No, just...
Well, at least not right now, at the very least.
Hmm.
I know how Dante likes to fucking play tricks and shit.
Yeah.
But, nah, I got nothing.
And you got any third parties that could show up, or do you think it's going to be like first party heavy? I imagine it could be, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was. You got any third party companies you think that could release or show off some stuff, or are you going with the guys just being like, stick with the first party shit? It's all good if you're in that camp too, my guy. You just got to tell me.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I'm predicting lots of first party content.
They should do it. I mean, that's the whole fucking point of this thing, right? So, well, that's pretty much all the big points to talk about in terms of Nintendo's E3 presentation, unless I left out any that are of any significance that you guys would want to go over before I decide to wrap things up. Or have we covered all the big bases, so to speak, in terms of the stuff that is likely and potentially likely? Or have I missed out some stuff that you think I should cover before we wrap up this here first episode of the Ensemble Exchange? Just let me know. Anything I'm missing out? Or have we covered the big bases?
I think that's it.
I think we've covered the big bases, eh? So
yeah.
Anyway, I will now throw the old the old line to any one of these individuals who want to plug any of their platforms. I know Hebby's got a decent amount, so I might as well throw it to him first because he's got a decent amount of stuff.
Channel in the description, Braester.
You got it. Plug your stuff, man. Plug your stuff.
Well, I don't have a vanity link at the moment because my channel's too small. But I'll post a link in the Discord chat, and bro, you better put my channel link in the description. It's mostly just gameplay, not too much speculation. But I do post the hype shit. But usually it's Ultimate or Melee clips.
Yeah, I will post your channel in the...
Or if they're badly edited, I have no idea how to edit, and I'm broke as fuck, so I'm using the free Planet Fillmore.
As I said, I will post the link to his channel in the description. Andy, you got anything on the old social media or online platforms that you'd like to plug at this time?
I do plan on being more active on YouTube, like restarting my channel, so I will send the link for that as well.
Okay, so
and that's about it.
So also link Andy's channel in the description below. Loafs, you got anything you want to plug in terms of the old social media platforms here before we
just
finish
plug
up?
my Discord title.
Just plug your Discord tag?
Yep, if anybody wants to talk, you can just add me.
Wonderful. And as I said, throughout this podcast, there's been the link to the Discord server right there up at the top, and we will continue to make these episodes going forward. It's going to be an idea of where to go from here after this whole direct is done, but I'm sure we will figure it all out. So until next time, everybody, thanks for listening. And okay, go on. What do you want to say?
Yeah, because it's Pride Month, we're legally obligated to mention the fact that it's Pride Month as of time of recording, or else we're all going to get canceled on Twitter for being homophobic. So yeah.
Hebby saving me from my podcast my channel being docked.
Yeah. These Twitter people, they're fucking wildin', nigga. They wildin'.
Happy Pride Month to anybody who is involved with that, and just so I don't get in trouble for not mentioning it. But yeah, and I guess it's all the rest of June. It just started, So happy month to all of you. And on that note, we will return for the live stream reaction of the direct in just over a week's time. See you then, everybody. Have a good night.